regulations to restrict major data centers in the area of the city of St. Louis and restricting it to industrial areas. We've got St. Louis Magazine's Ryan Krull joining us. He's actually coming by Studio B, so we'll chat with him.
And you heard Hancock and Kelly visit with a state representative about the elimination of the state income tax. Well, Missouri voters will decide on whether or not doing that in August. We'll discuss that as well.
And the Cardinals, well, they lost to the Mets yesterday, 5-4. But they start a new series tonight against the Twins. First pitch, 7:10. Pre-game show right here on KMOX at 6:15. Well, gentlemen, how are you guys doing this fine Friday?
All is well.
Amy, I got a nice set of cans. You got a nice set of cans.
What?
What are you talking
Guess
about?
who doesn't have a
about?
nice set of cans?
My headphones.
Yeah.
They're broken.
Isn't that radio lingo? They call those cans? Put your cans on your ears?
Bought these
Do
at
they?
radio.
Matt has a concerned look on his face.
I bought
What
these
happened to your headphones?
Well, I bought them
Hancock?
at Radio Shack.
Wow.
Which I
Where's
can't,
that? Where are they at?
I can't take it back.
They next
And they're
to
broken.
Sears?
So hopefully I won't need them.
So this happened. I don't know when it happened, John, but I noticed it last Friday.
Yeah.
Because was it last Friday?
Who knows?
I don't remember when it was, but John Hancock was in with me, and we were having a fairly serious conversation.
Imagine that.
And your headphone, the right ear, was
Your left
just
can.
dangling. It was just flip-flopping all around,
Yep.
and I had to
They broke.
intentionally not look at you
They broke.
because I couldn't take you seriously with your headphone flopping around against your face. I've never seen anything like that.
Well, it's like a dog ear, those little flappy dog ears,
Yeah.
which I find to be very cute. I like
They
a
are
dog with flappy ears, as opposed to the pointy,
Does
straight
Gus
up ears.
have floppy ears?
He's got a kind of a half flop, and very adorable dog.
Now, Radio Shack, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't even think it exists anymore.
Correct. They went
don't
out of
think it
business.
does.
Best Buy barely exists. So where do you go and get yourself a new set of cans?
I don't know, but you guys have those when you come with your iPhone.
I got my iPhone things.
Yeah, you
earbuds.
have in the ear earbuds.
Yeah,
But,
earbuds. That's what they.
I
I
have the
always
big
lose
headphones.
those.
Do you?
Yeah, and then they came out with the ones that don't have a cord on them,
Yeah.
and those you can't you
Yeah.
can't keep those more than a couple of weeks before.
So
they're
are
done.
you still holding the phone up to your ear when you talk on it?
Sometimes,
Yeah.
usually not. It depends if I'm out and about.
So when you're sitting at your desk, what do? Put it on speaker?
Yeah, well, it doesn't work in my office.
No, it doesn't.
The phone.
It's kind of messed up that your whole job is on your telephone and it doesn't work in your office.
Well,
You
it
don't
works.
get
It's just not
reception?
as a phone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have
Wait.
you started to figure out how you're going to calculate sales tax for all the services you provide
Piece
for
of
people?
cake. Piece of cake. And all of my out-of-state clients will be paying Missouri sales tax.
So,
Hey,
but
I'm
now,
glad you brought that up
yeah,
because you guys were talking about
right.
the proposal to eliminate income tax in the state of
You
Missouri.
mean to reduce the tax burden on everyone? Yes, that's what we were talking about.
How is it reducing the tax burden when the guy just told us, no, in fact, we're going to have to shift those taxes to other things?
Because sales taxes are paid, but not by
No,
exclusively
but-
Missourians.
but at the end-
Income tax is paid exclusively by Missourians.
But the argument that you all are making is we're doing away with taxes on Missourians.
No,
That's
we're
not
doing
the
away-
case. You're going to implement
not
those
the argument we're making.
taxes in other places.
It's not the argument we're making. The argument we're making is we're eliminating the income tax, which will be a net benefit to every person in Missouri.
Except if you're a senior who's going to see increased costs for everyday basic services because we're going to have to raise the sales tax. We're going to have to raise the taxes on everything else.
Who don't pay?
Go to the eye doctor, pay a sales
who
tax.
will not have to pay income
Get your
tax
hair
on their
cut,
Social
pay
Security.
a sales tax. Call your lawyer, pay a sales tax. I mean, sales tax is what we're just shifting this burden away from a place where most people don't see it right now. Those
Of
at the
course you
top
see
pay
it.
more than those at the bottom, to a place where now it's regulated. Everybody's going to be paying the same, and it shifts the burden of the cost of replacing this revenue to those who can least afford it and to seniors who've already budgeted their life who now are going to see increased costs.
You don't pay income tax on investment income in this state, which is passive income, which is most, of the uber wealthy, the people you're talking about. This is going to be a much fairer way to tax, and it's going to result in a tax decrease for every Missourian. I mean, if you want to be against that, go for it.
I am against it. I think it's a
understand
raw
that.
deal, and it's shifting from those at the top to those at the bottom, which is kind of the way of the GOP these days.
Could we get to, in a nutshell, arguments for John, why it's a good idea to
let me
eliminate
just
the
put
income
it
tax, and then Michael after John?
Simply, you're getting a 5% raise, and when you eliminate the income tax, a 5% raise, you would have to spend twice your paycheck every pay period in sales taxes. I mean, just in raw spending for that to be equal. It's going to be a tax decrease for people to get a 5% raise and pay a little bit more in sales taxes. They're going to come out ahead.
Well, in a nutshell, right now you pay your income tax based as a percentage of your income. And we're going to do away with that and shift all that to other places, which is going to increase taxes and costs for most Missourians. That
No,
was
it's
my
not.
argument in a nutshell. I listened to your nutshell.
Is it
You're nutty.
My nutshell is correct, however.
Is it possible that because, and again, a lot of this is out of my pay grade, but that I believe, John, that it will be it is going to be less money. It's going to be less money in taxes for the taxpayer.
More money in the pockets of
More
people.
money in the pockets, because in order to equal the 5% income tax, you would have to spend so much in sales,
Correct.
tax, and other things, right? So let's say it really is more money in my pocket.
Yep.
But then also have a concern, to Michael's point, that we are going to do this and have more money in the pockets of Missourians and then say, oh my gosh, we don't have enough money to do any of these basic services that the state needs to provide. We have to fill that gap somehow, because when people point to states that don't have income tax, they point to Florida, they point to Alaska, they point to South Dakota, states that have enormous natural resources and enormous tourism industries, because we can praise the Missouri tourism industry, but it's not Florida, and it's not Alaska, and it's not South Dakota. And so that's my concern, is that maybe we're just a state that can't do it.
Well, tourism is our second largest industry in the state, behind agriculture.
Wouldn't that be the case in probably almost every state?
What do you mean?
I would imagine that tourism is the top 1, 2, 3 industries in nearly every state.
I don't know that.
I mean, what makes Missouri so special? I mean, Branson's nice, but it isn't.
Disney
this
World.
isn't Las Vegas or Disney World. I think that Illinois has huge tourism. Arkansas has huge tourism. So this argument that, we're going to shift it, at the end of the day, to make this up, we are going to start taxing things we've never taxed before.
Let me ask you something.
And it's no longer going to be fair. It's going to hit those at the bottom more than it's going to hit those at the top.
It's just not. Do you think there are hundreds of thousands of out-of-state people who visit Missouri annually?
Sure.
All right. They're going to be paying what we are now paying through income tax. They're going to be paying through
And
sales
so
tax.
will I when I go to the ball
Of
game and
course
I
you
buy
will.
my $12 beer. The sales tax is going up on that. I, too, am going to be paying for that.
But you're going to be paying less taxes overall than you are now. And
It's just one pocket or the other. But what happens is the pockets of those at the bottom and those as seniors get picked. The rest of the rich folks, this is a great deal for them. I agree. If you're a person out there sitting out in St. Charles making yourself $500,000 a year, this is a good deal for you. If you're a working Missourian who's suddenly going to have to pay sales tax on every other aspect of life, this is a raw deal.
It's not. They come out ahead. You may not like the fact that people have more money in their pocket, but that's what this will do.
More money to pay taxes with, because you're going to raise taxes on everything else.
But that makes sense to me, that, like, say I'm paying $100 in income tax and you eliminate that, even if I'm spending $50 of taxes more in other ancillary taxes, I'm still coming out $50 ahead. Like,
Right.
that math makes sense to me. I think my concern is
You don't think we can generate enough
I'm not
revenue.
convinced that we can generate enough revenue to fill the gap.
That's the beauty of this particular proposal is you're not just eliminating the income tax day one. You're phasing it out over time, and some of that will be made up, hopefully, if the economy turns around, in economic growth. So as you have economic growth, you're going to be able to reduce the income tax further. So you won't. It's not a dollar for dollar exchange here.
But the other thing you guys are missing out on is there's going to be new taxes on stuff you've never paid for before. So you go down to the ball game and you pay your $25 to park. Guess what? It's going up.
Yeah, but you've got more.
Everything is right. So all we're doing is shifting where you're going to pay it.
No.
So
those at the top who pay a percentage, fine, that percentage is gone. Now everybody else is going to pay more for everything
Those at
else.
the top who consume more are going to pay more, Michael. It's no different than anything else. And all income is not taxed right now if you're super wealthy. Now, every consumption by the super wealthy is going to be taxed.
And every consumption by those who need basic services of life go up as well.
And they come out ahead.
No,
Kind of
that's
like
not true.
with the.
Of course it's
I
true.
mean, looking at what we've talked about, the K-shaped economy, how the wealthy are paying, they're spending a lot right now. That's
Yes.
why things like Disney World are thriving, and people are still taking flights across the country. They're still going to Europe. They're still buying boats and cars, and all of these purchases are still happening. But again, with the K-shaped economy, that's because those who are making more are buying. Their purchasing power is through the roof. But then the lower income, they're not buying as much because it's more expensive, which means they're also would be paying less in taxes.
And the sales tax is, it's a better way to generate revenue than taxing income. And when you don't tax income, empirically, economies grow.
So young people who are renting apartments suddenly are going to pay sales tax on renting apartments.
I don't know the
If you
answer to
buy
that.
a house, you're suddenly going to start paying sales tax on the purchase of that house.
No, because that's exempted in the state constitution.
Can I ask why? And like I said, part of me feels like I have my own answer to this, and it kind of comes back to the state's ability to generate revenue. But no income tax works in Florida. Why did it fail so miserably in Kansas? Because I would say we're closer to Kansas than we are to Florida. And if it failed in Kansas, that's who I would point to for failure.
We're closer to Tennessee than we are to Kansas. And Tennessee has no income tax, and they are thriving.
They have Nashville, though.
Yeah, and we've got a lot of tourism destinations here as well.
All right. Well, the text line, people have a lot of opinions on this, and it's kind of all over the board, which is kind of interesting. That's Michael Kelly. I'm Amy Mark Scores. John Hancock is just to my right. More on the Chris and Amy Show on KMOX.
This is Jordan Walker. Celebrate Black Heritage Day, presented by your quality Ford dealers on Sunday, June 28th at Busch Stadium. This special culture and community event honors the impact, history, and legacy of the Black community in baseball and beyond. With a special themed ticket, you'll receive an exclusive Cardinals jersey designed by Corey Rogers. And don't miss a special heritage celebration in Budweiser Terrace before the game. Details and tickets at cardinals.com/theme.
The weekend starts here. Grab your crew and kick it off at Friday Night Live at Busch Stadium. Every Friday night home game, Budweiser Terrace turns into the hottest happy hour in the Lou with $5 beers, $5 hot dogs, $7 margaritas, live music, and more all game long. Meet up with friends, soak in the energy, and keep the night going with baseball under the lights. Good vibes, great deals, your new Friday tradition. Get tickets now at Cardinals.com.
I'm Anna Garcia, host of True Crime News, the podcast. Every week, we bring you in-depth coverage on cases making headlines, as well as those that go under the radar. Tune in for murders that defy explanation, mystery seeking exploration, and shocking secrets that will leave you breathless. Each week, we honor the victims by going beyond the salacious in our search for justice. Crime never stops, and neither do we. Listen to True Crime News, available now on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance engineer at a beverage manufacturing plant, he starts his day knowing every line is ready to run because Grainger delivers the industrial-grade products he needs to keep mixers, conveyors, and packaging equipment moving. With Grainger's vast selection of bearings, belts, and motors, he keeps operations running smoothly, so nothing grinds to a halt. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
If you own a business, you've heard it all. From fast funding to easy approvals, everyone says the same thing. LendSeek is different. We show you what you actually qualify for. LendSeek's AI-enabled platform matches you with funding options with no guesswork. Up to $5 million in as fast as 24 hours. If you've been in business over a year, doing at least $50,000 per month, apply for free with zero out-of-pocket costs and access to over 100 lenders. Start ready, stay ready. Lendseek.com. LENDSEEK.com.
The smartest way to do your homework is Heckman Lumber.
Thinking about building a new deck? Start with the trained professionals at Hackman Lumber, home of one of the largest inventories of decking materials and accessories in Missouri. From treated lumber and cedar to all the leading names in decking, their team will help you choose the perfect materials for your dream deck. Then finish it off with endless railing options, balusters, and LED deck lighting to bring your backyard to life. Hackman Lumber will not be undersold on in-stock decking materials, guaranteed. Do it yourself? Their team is ready to help. Also, check out their expanded paint department with custom color matching. And don't forget, follow Hackman Lumber on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok to catch weekly deals, specials, and project inspiration all season long. Or visit us at hackmanstl.com. Locations in St. Peters, Troy, and Pacific, Missouri.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/term. That's ethos.com/term. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Working as a dedicated Fidelity advisor, I always ask, what's important to you? I'll look at those priorities and goals alongside your full financial picture to build a comprehensive plan designed to help grow and protect your wealth. With proactive portfolio insights and an eye on taxes, I'm here to help you make the most of your money. I'm Laura Maxwell, and I'm a dedicated Fidelity advisor. Learn more at fidelity.com/wealth. Investment minimums apply. Fidelity Brokerage Services, LLC, member NYSE, SIPC.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at lancedrurylaw.com.
The Chris and Amy Show on 104.1 FM KMOX, sponsored by Community America Credit Union in Des Peres. Invested in STL. Invested in you. Now open.
100 years. One legendary voice. We live KMOX's century of service. Classic audio, photos, videos, and more at KMOX100.com.
Well, things are going so well with Hancock and Kelly being able to argue again, just like the old days.
Yeah, no kidding.
That we thought we'd bring up another hot topic between these two fine gentlemen. And that is John Hancock's beloved sport of snooker, which is basically pool in a way.
No.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not basically pool.
Is it a sport?
Well, it's a more complicated pool game.
Yes. Is it a sport?
Pool is checkers. Snooker is chess.
But still, checkers and chess are both a board game.
Yeah.
Pool and snooker
sure.
are both billiards.
It's correct.
Okay.
So
but
some
it's not
context.
a sport.
Of course it's a sport.
It's not like you're going out for your run to get your mile and a half in so that you can compete well at snooker.
Your Honor, may I approach the bench?
Yes, you may.
Last year, the great Ronnie O'Sullivan, not perhaps, he's the greatest snooker player to ever live. He was nominated in Britain as the sports person of the year. Okay. I rest my case, Your Honor.
Under your logic, that would be a big sport over in England that they all play. You know what a big sport they play in the United States is?
What?
In rural Missouri and rural America? Horseshoes.
Yeah.
So you telling me that somebody could be considered Sportsman of the Year who throws horseshoes? Because you ought to see my buddy Tim. He's about 320, and he can throw that horseshoe better than anybody.
Yeah.
So is he a sport? Is that a sport?
You could make the case, although there's no ball. But
there's no ball in swimming.
There's no ball in track and field. Are you saying Jackie Joyner-Kersee didn't?
No,
is it one of the greatest sports
They're all
women
sports.
of all time?
And I'll give you horseshoes as a sport, but millions of people don't watch horseshoes.
I think that
millions
horseshoes
of people watch
is a competition. I think that billiards is a competition. I don't think there's anything that's sport-like about it.
Let me tell you, John Higgins one of the great snooker players of all time, who kind of resembles yours truly, if I say so
myself. A bald fellow, one
He is.
Yeah, okay.
And he had gotten himself a little hefty. And his game fell off. John Higgins lost about 40 pounds a couple years ago in the offseason. Came back and was absolutely amazing.
He wasn't having to throw that belly up on the table?
Correct.
Oh, I get it.
And therefore, he's a finely toned athlete.
Oh,
now.
come on, John.
You got to bend
finely
over.
Toned athlete.
In a given match, you've got to bend over a couple hundred times. And
Whoa.
I mean, when you're bending over a couple hundred times, that's
how do they compute that in stats?
Because you got to
bend over.
Yeah, but in Catholic Mass, you have to stand up a lot.
Huh?
Is that a sport?
No,
right, Michael?
But when you're bending
stand
over
up?
and you're bending in a what do you call it? Like when it's a 90-degree angle. I mean, think about it. Just folks out there listening right now, not if you're driving. Try bending over in a 90-degree angle and do it 200 times and tell me that's not an athletic endeavor. It is.
I just don't understand how you can think that this
Okay.
is a sport.
Well, here's my question, though.
Stand
Michael.
up and bend over in a 90-degree angle.
John, I do it with you every Friday. I go play, and for some reason, I'm still able to function after we're done playing.
Well, does your back ever hurt? Yes.
No.
Okay.
From playing billiards with you?
But Michael,
No.
this is going to make.
Got a very
now I
sore
feel like
back.
I'm just throwing grenades.
My back's hurting.
Because you're saying like, well, these
Grenades could be a sport
they
as
could
well.
be a sport that you're saying, well, he's not an athlete, but would you say that golf is a sport? And if it is a sport, why can John Daly play golf and drink beer? Well, he's not necessarily a
I'm
specimen.
with you. I do think it's a sport because you walk, there's physical activity there, etc. Like you leave more than a 4-foot radius as opposed to a snooker game where, you lean on one side of the table and go to the other side and lean on it. I think there's a drastic difference between golf and
90-degree angle 200 times. You folks at home, I wouldn't try it if you're, not in a fit condition.
Right.
But give it a shot.
And
that's exercise.
Who doesn't appreciate a sport that you consume a cold beverage while playing? That's pretty cool, I think.
Well, there are. So I think this is why they call them the Olympic Games, not the Olympic sports.
Golf is in the Olympics, yes.
Golf is in the Olympics, but there was a great photo from curlers in the 70s. I don't know if you would consider curling a sport.
I think it's a competition.
But there's a guy smoking a cigarette. He's got like a Team USA jersey on. He's smoking a cigarette and golfing or curling. Then you could do the same with golf and with snooker. So don't you think there has to be a halfway point between a game and a sport? And that's where snooker falls?
Well, let me tell you,
I'll go with that.
You would not want a cigarette or cigar dangling from your mouth when you're leaning over a snooker table because that could, make the cloth filthy, and you don't want that. Hard to beat, a fresh cloth on a snooker table.
Yeah,
it's a beautiful thing. It's like a cool breeze in the morning.
Huh. I never thought about that.
Yeah.
Well, that's John Hancock.
Just trying to help.
We appreciate it. Michael Kelly, as always, we want to hear from you, 314-436-7900. A couple more political questions for you guys at 9:30 before we set you free. It's the Chris and Amy Show on KMOX.
Well, tell me, did you sail across the sun? Did you make it to the Milky Way to see?
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Before a nation, there was an idea. Before freedom, there was a sacrifice. This year, KMOX marks America's 250th birthday. Step into history with John Hancock and Michael Kelly, Sunday mornings at 8, as they pull you into the moment where everything was on the line. This is the sound of a nation being born. Celebrate America, 250 years strong, with Hancock and Kelly, Sunday mornings at 8, only on KMOX.
When you want a brand new kitchen, there's nothing to it. There's a brand new way to do it. 3-day kitchen and bath. It's all about time.
Save time and money.
Do it now, don't wait till later. Call the top-notch renovator. It's about time.
3 days or less
at 3-day kitchen and bath.
Now, KMOX weather from the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk.
74 glorious degrees in downtown St. Louis. We're going to a high of 84 today. Wow, isn't that a shift from yesterday? But don't worry about it. It's going to stick around for a while. Only the high 70s towards the end of the weekend.
The new Haverty's Furniture Showroom is now open in Gravois Bluffs. Come visit us now. To refresh your space with furniture that's built to last? The new Haverty's Furniture Showroom is now open in Fenton and Gravois Bluffs. Experience Haverty's regret-free guarantee for yourself and shop the latest in living rooms, bedrooms, and more. Visit Haverty's now in Gravois Bluffs.
You've got to try the new TikTok diet.
Just ask chat.
I just take blue-green algae.
You just have to eat kale. Kale, kale, kale.
I read you should put butter in your coffee.
Or you could trust your gut. When it comes to your energy, digestion, and overall health, how do you know what's actually right for you? That's where Viome comes in. Viome is a simple, at-home gut health test that looks at your body's real-time biology using RNA to show what's going on inside you right now. Not trends, not guesses, your biology. With your results, Viome gives you clear, personalized, actionable guidance. Which foods help you, which ones don't, and which supplements your body actually can benefit from. All based on the world's largest gut health databases and thousands of clinical research studies. Many people who use Viome report better digestion, more energy, and an improved mood within months. So stop guessing. Start knowing.
And maybe still eat the kale?
Maybe. Learn more at Viome.com/know. V as in Victor, IOME.com/KNOW. And use coupon code VIOME50 to save $50 off your purchase.
And eat everything blue.
No, thank you.
When my wife and I got married, after both graduating law school, we didn't have 2 nickels to rub together. Ultima had to give me her gas card just to drive home. We never could have imagined that one day we would have the largest injury firm in the world and $25 billion in money collected and counting. As good Catholics, we had 4 children fast. They all work in the firm today. Our family protecting yours. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan, but our greatest gift was years away, grandchildren. Today we have 6 and counting. It's the greatest joy that we have ever experienced. I think about them all day long. Our family promises to protect your family should you need us. Call us. It's easy. Visit forthepeople.com and make sure you hug your grandchildren. God's final gift to us. Morgan & Morgan, for the people.
Injured? Dial Pound Law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Grab your shades, your float trip gear, and join us June 17th for Chris and Amy Day at Busch Stadium.
We'll be broadcasting live from the Mississippi Yacht Club pop-up bar outside Gate 1, hanging with fans and serving up some fun behind the bar.
Live music, Fred Bird special guests will all be there. Plenty of chances to stop by and say hello.
Plus, you can sit with fellow Chris and Amy listeners in our special section for just $15.
June 17th.
Chris and Amy Day at the ballpark, $15 tickets.
Get your tickets now, cardinals.com/Chris and Amy.
Go Cards.
Get inside your Redbirds in the 2026 season every Tuesday at noon. It's All Access with Cardinals manager Ollie Marmol on your voice of the Cardinals, KMOX.
Michael Kelly, John Hancock in with me today on the Chris and Amy Show. And a couple of topics I want to get to here, but the first one is the Graham Plattner primary win in Maine. So Graham Plattner is the Nazi tattooed, controversial past with abusive allegations of abuse from former girlfriends. And he won the Democratic primary in Maine. He will be taking on Susan Collins in that Senate race. And John and Michael, I wanted to get your thoughts on this race, if you are concerned for what this means for the Democratic Party that suddenly Graham Plattner was a desirable choice, or if you think it's a one-off because the other options weren't great, so the Nazi tattoo guy won.
Well, he's a terrible candidate. And
well, he's actually a pretty good candidate. He's got a terrible bio.
Right. Yeah. And, well, I mean, you could say that about a lot of politicians, right?
Yeah. I mean, President Trump's a great candidate, but terrible bio.
Yeah, I think he's a poor choice. And, at the end of the day, he may cost the Democrats control of the U.S. Senate if he loses to Susan Collins.
Yeah. And that's one of the states that's been most frustrating to Democrats. It's up in the Northeast. It's somebody we usually win. She always runs as some moderate Republican, and then she gets in there and then winds up voting for the extreme right. Yeah, I think it's less than ideal. He wouldn't be who I would have picked. And I'm not sure what's going to happen, but I think Susan Collins, who, by the way, said she was only going to run 2 terms, who I think now she's in her 2nd decade as United States Senator.
This will be her 5th term.
Yeah, her 5th term.
Or she's in her 5th time.
To be fair, though, a lot of people in Congress aren't really stepping down, even though they're ancient.
But, I mean, I just think it's interesting when these people run on this populist idea and then they walk away from it very quickly.
And Maine has ranked choice voting as well, so that's going to, that was something that benefited Plattner, I think, in winning that primary.
So you guys think that Susan Collins will defeat
I don't
Graham
know.
Plattner, or you don't know?
I don't know. I mean, this is going to be a really good Democratic year.
Yeah.
And Maine is, it's up in the Northeast. This is not a red state. So I think there's a chance he can win, but I think he probably is going to lose a couple of points because of his particular bio.
So this is why it concerns me. As a lifelong conservative who's now politically homeless, the Republican Party doesn't represent me. It went off the rails. It was an unhealthy party in the first place, I think, to elect Donald Trump in 2016. I think a healthy party never allows Donald Trump to get that far. So I feel like we've lost the Republican Party. It's crazy. It's insane. There's no standard anymore. The same party that roundly and wholly condemned Bill Clinton for, his peccadillos is now accepting Donald Trump and other candidates and politicians who have, to call it a checkered past is to be polite, right? We know that standards for Donald Trump, what he says, how he treats women, getting divorced twice, married 3 times, 5 different kids, he's cheated on all his wives, all of these different things that would have bothered the Republican Party. They've shifted the bar. Oh, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because he gets things done. And so I feel like, all right, well, the standard of character and competency is lost in the Republican Party. What concerns me is our Democrats, or at least Democratic voters, are now going to say, hey, Donald Trump changed the bar. Your past doesn't matter. All it matters is whether or not you get stuff done. Because I've also been concerned by the challenges, the disregard for the Constitution that we've seen from Donald Trump. And Michael, you've said, well, hey, when the Democrats take power, I hope they push it just as much, right? Like there's not going to be an appetite to pull it back. So my fear is, are Democratic voters going to say, hey, Trump reset the bar. It doesn't matter. Your character doesn't matter anymore as long as you get stuff done.
Well, I think it's a little bit different that you've got one guy running in one state as opposed to a presidential candidate who ran across all 50 states.
Mm-hmm.
And you saw the Republican Party unanimously get behind Donald Trump and continue to hold him to some deity status. I don't know that will be the case with Graham Plattner. I got to be confessed, 2-3 months ago, I didn't even know this guy's name. And he seems like a little bit of a kook to me. So I'm not in Maine. I don't get to choose, but I wouldn't be pleased with Susan Collins. Who knows what's going to happen? But I don't think this paints the whole Democratic Party.
Well, one thing I want to point out here is when you refer to the Republican Party, the Democratic Party, in our history, those have been institutions. Right? Not ideas. They've been institutions. There is a Republican Party and there is a Democratic Party. What we have done in this country through reform is we have completely neutered those institutions. So the institution, Amy, of the Republican Donald Trump, right? They would have seen to it that the whole idea of a political party is to go find the best candidate that can win and get them through the nomination process. And, and folks decided they didn't like, the backroom deals and the party bosses. And you know what? Those party bosses provided us far better candidates across the board than we get now with the diminishing number of people who actually vote in those primaries. And we so weakened the institutions of political parties. And I grew up as the executive director of the Missouri Republican Party. We were a real force. Not anymore, because the laws have changed, the incentives have changed, the financing of campaigns has changed, and now we begrudge the fact that the Republican Party can't nominate good candidates. Well, the Republican Party, the institution, ain't what she used to be.
How does that fall in line with the Democratic Party?
Same. I mean, when I was the executive director of the party, we, like John says, we've reformed ourselves into this sickness from my perspective. And, you know, the only problem, John uses this line all the time, the only problem with the smoke-filled rooms was the smoke. Because you were able to weed those folks out. You had, and this is probably more prevalent with the Republicans in Missouri, but you've had some extremist candidates who had gotten onto the ballot in the 80s and 90s or who were running that you were able to dispense of.
Yeah.
And then more recently, you had people who, I'm thinking of the lady that ran for treasurer. That you couldn't get rid of because there is no institutional power in the parties anymore. And, you know, it's a lot of that is a direct reflection. This would be maybe a good time for John and I to bring up that almost every election that's going to be happening in August of this year, less than a month and a half, 2 months that we'll be voting, is going to be decided in August. There's nothing going to be of consequence outside of issues on the November ballot. We're going to be choosing who's leading St. Louis County, who's leading St. Charles County in these primaries. And unfortunately, Amy, people don't participate in primaries. Yeah. And that's part of the reason we're getting some of these extremist candidates on the right or on the left.
You know, it's interesting that you say that because I feel like it's multiple layers of bad news when it comes to wanting hope for the country, having a normal Republican Party or even a Democratic Party, because we've seen through multiple presidential administrations, the expansion of the executive branch, right? We've seen it. We've seen Congress cede power to the executive branch saying, you know what? We don't want to compromise. We don't want the heavy, tedious burden of persuasion. We don't want to have to reach across the aisle and not get everything we want. Let's just, pen and phone democracy, pen and phone executive orders to get things done. So my concern is, as much as I'm complaining now and feeling flustered, feeling frustrated and disheartened by the current administration, when there's a Democratic president or Democratic control in Congress, will there be an appetite to rein back the abuses? And I'm guessing not, because why would an AOC or an Elizabeth Warren or Gavin Newsom or whoever, why would they say, hey, Donald Trump and the Republicans, they pushed it to the limit, but we're not going to? Why would they do that?
Well, from a Democratic perspective, when I go out and sit with my friends, some of them common sense Democrats like myself, some of them progressive Democrats, all of us want our pound of flesh. We've watched what this administration's done. We've watched people who know better, Republicans, sit there and say, no, let Donald Trump do this and go punish his enemies. I definitely think there's going to be an appetite inside the Democratic Party to see that kind of execution of the Republican policies that have taken place. I hope that we're going to have a pushback to normalcy, but maybe that's part of why the Democrats are out of power right now, is because, hey, we're like the ones who are going to take it back to normal, and we have these Republicans who are playing by a different set of rules, who are bringing Donald Trump in and just handing them carte blanche.
I have pretty grave concerns about the institution of Congress. Because you're right, Amy, this isn't unique to the Trump era. This has been going on for a while. And the executive branch expanse of power is now decades old. And the court system has been, a tiny check. But the sickness of what is the legislative branch of government is a real concern, and I'm not at all confident that it's going to reclaim its.
What happened? What happened outside of just Donald Trump that the Republicans, because it was just within a decade ago that they were running around saying, stop spending, stop spending. Hey, here's my Constitution. This is what it says. Strict
Mitt Romney, the Tea Party, all
what
of that to where we
happened?
are now.
Is it all just Donald Trump? Or
Well,
was it more the desire to be in charge?
It was the voters. I mean, ultimately, Trump is a symptom of our folks that participate now are disproportionately populist and embracing of authoritarianism, and that exists in the Republican because it's always been there. It's always been there. But I used to think back in my day that was kind of a fringe element of the party, and those folks were around, and they'd show up at caucuses and they'd win some and take them over, and they were always anti-establishment, among other things. Now they're running the show, and I think in your party, it's these socialists that have always been there. I mean, always been there.
But of course, and inside of my party, you have the socialists who believe government should fix every problem for everything. You had a Republican Party that got elected that was built on the idea of self-reliance,
and limited government,
less spending. How are you all going to be able to pivot in a year and a half? I mean, you're going to start saying, stop spending, stop spending, stop spending. But at the end of the day, it's a hollowed argument because even the voters know it's fraudulent. We've seen the debt and spending go through the roof with Republicans. Are those old dog whistles still going to work?
I don't know. But I do know that presidents are transformative. And there's no question but that Donald Trump has transformed the Republican Party in a way that Bill Clinton transformed and Barack Obama transformed the Democratic Party. I don't think Joe Biden had much of an impact.
Right.
But presidents can be very transformative. So my hope is that what emerges out of whatever this era will come to be known is a more movement conservative candidate who gets nominated and elected president, and that, maybe that helps fix it.
Yeah, I don't know. I will say here's my concern because people will say, like, why, I'll get criticized for being so hard on the Republican Party, right, or the so-called conservatives. And that's because you need to be able to call out your own side or what is historically your own side, because here's my concern. When it comes to character of a leader or, a politician, when it comes to competency, when it comes to experience, when it comes to pushing or abusing the limits of constitutional authority or limitations, from what moral high ground can a Republican ever criticize a Democratic move from here on out? When can we ever criticize a Democrat for character? When can we ever criticize a Democrat for appointing someone who has absolutely no experience? When can we ever criticize a Democrat for hiring and firing and hiring and firing? Character, competence, experience, abusing constitutional limitations. What moral high ground does any Republican have?
It was
now?
Less than 2 years ago they were all worried about Hunter Biden and he was selling paintings, and now we're seeing and then Graham Blattner comes on. I saw Kellyanne Conway yesterday saying, this is just atrocious that we're going to allow somebody of this moral character. And you just, even as a Republican, you just have to be looking at it thinking, am I living in an alternate universe?
Yeah. There are some, but few, who will have the ability to call balls and strikes.
You do it.
You do it. You both do it well. I appreciate you, gentlemen. John Hancock.
The bumper music has gotten so good.
I'm the Angel Hernandez of political.
Joe West and Angel Hernandez here hanging out in Studio B. A few more minutes with Hancock and Kelly on the Chris and Amy Show.
Broadcasting from the Scott Credit Union Studio, 104.1 FM KMOX.
The Gatlin Brothers and Crystal Gale are coming to the Family Arena for one magical night of country and Christmas, December 17th. It's the Gatlin Brothers Farewell Tour, and Crystal Gale is joining them to celebrate an evening of country's greatest hits and beautiful Christmas music. Don't miss the Gatlin Brothers and Crystal Gale. Tickets are available at the Carroll House Furniture box office at the Family Arena or at Ticketmaster.
Mickey Dolenz, 60 Years of the Monkees. One night celebrating the music from their hit TV show, The Monkees, and a generation of adoring fans. Friday, November 13th, 7 p.m., the Family Arena. All the biggest hits and intimate stories from the groundbreaking hit show. Mickey Dolenz. On sale at the Carroll House Furniture Box Office at the Family Arena or Ticketmaster.
Don't miss the hot tub and swim spa blowout sale this weekend at the St. Charles Convention Center. Over 25 American-made units on display. Immediate delivery and financing available. For more info, call 1-800-SPA-SALE.
Wait, everything on this IHOP value menu is just $6?
I told you it was amazing. A huge plate of pancakes, bacon, and eggs is just $6.
Wow.
There's also French toast, a ham and cheese omelet, and oh, they got a BLT and fries now.
Okay, we're coming here every day.
You don't have to tell me twice.
Feast for just $6 with the IHOP value menu. $7 in some locations, available every day for a limited time at participating restaurants in the U.S. Hours may vary. No substitutions. Not valid with other discounts or promotions. Prices may vary.
This is the story of the one who keeps multiple buildings running smoothly day after day. Plumbing that flows, HVAC that hums, cleaning supplies that keep surfaces sparkling. That's why she counts on Grainger. With easy reordering online and 24/7 support, Grainger helps her keep the products she needs on hand. So shelves stay stocked and buildings stay ready. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
From the FIFA World Cup to competitive business environments, grand ambitions lead to game-changing achievements. At Bank of America, we're there to support businesses at every step, providing insights and expertise to help you gain an edge.
He shoots, he scores!
What would you like the power to do? Explore winning business solutions at BofA.com/gamechangers. Bank of America, official bank of the FIFA World Cup 2026.
A divorce is more than just legal paperwork. It's a life change. The stress, the uncertainty, the tough conversations. Cordell & Cordell understands what it's really like to face the unknown. The law firm of Cordell & Cordell has been representing clients during these transitions for over 35 years, helping you focus on what matters most. If you or someone you know is facing a divorce or family law matter, visit CordellCordell.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. 600 Kelwood, St. Louis. Joseph Cordell, Principal Partner.
We often hear the words retirement and annuity used in the same sentence, but it's important to know that not all annuities are the same. If you're not sure, it may be time for an annuity x-ray. Steve All and the team at the All Financial Group can review your annuity. Call Steve at 636-230-8824 and at yourmoneymattersstl.com.
Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, a registered investment advisor. By contacting us, you may be provided with information about insurance products, including annuities. Licensed in Missouri and Illinois.
Gear from MLBshop.com helps you show everyone what team you're with before you even say a word. So people start asking you things locals and fans know, like,
you with the crew? You from the D?
Where'd you go to high school?
Your dad put you in brown and gold?
You see Skins go? You get your Dodger dog?
Siempre 305?
You see Big Dumper 60?
Do you see him put Vladdy in the jacket?
How about 40-70?
You see Judge's 62? Shohei's 50-50. The gear says it all.
Cut from the city. Go to MLBshop.com.
MLB trademarks used with permission.
Chris Ranji, Amy Marks Kors. The Chris and Amy Show on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
All right, John Hancock and Michael Kelly.
Yo.
Has Elon Musk become a trillionaire officially now or not yet? When does that happen?
I don't know.
A matter of hours.
And
say.
I must say, I don't care.
Well, I would say don't care that much either, except for the fact that it's hard to wrap your brain around what a trillion is.
It's a lot.
And the Wall Street Journal had a pretty interesting story. It says, no, you don't understand what a trillion is. And they even interviewed a data scientist and a professor of psychological and brain sciences at Indiana University, who says we're living in a world we're not built to understand. And so we develop names for things to help us put them in perspective. But in the same way that we say 1, 2, 3, we understand 1, 2, 3. We understand what that means sequentially. When you say million, billion, trillion, your brain tries to put it in a 1, 2, 3 category, but that's not really how it works because trillion is so much bigger
What
than
is
billion.
1% of a trillion? Somebody do the math here.
1,000 million, right?
1%?
1,000 billion. Is it 1,000 billion?
Well, that's a trillion is 1,000 billion.
Oh, yes, then 1,000 million?
What's
I don't know.
1% of a trillion?
Who knows?
I don't know,
Well,
but here's...
it's a simple math problem.
Well, you need to take the zeros away.
So you get 10% of a trillion is 100 billion.
Yes.
Right? So one.
Oh, yeah.
So you're talking about a million is 1% of a trillion. Is that correct? Have I done my math correctly there?
I'm not sure. We're not supposed to do math on the air.
We got 3 public school people in here and a homeschool, and none of us can figure out what 1% of a trillion is.
Because we're doing
Wait
it
a
in
minute.
our
I did not
heads.
go to public school. I was educated by the Catholics.
We've got parochial, public school, and homeschool over here. What is 1% of a trillion there, Peach? Let's go to the research department.
10 billion.
10 billion. All right. There it is.
You said a million.
Can I tell you?
You said
I was
a million.
close. I was only 9.9.
You were so wrong.
I think Elon Musk is a genius. But
I bet he knows what 1% of a trillion is.
But as it relates to his political stuff, I'm not sure he is a genius.
Okay.
And I would suspect if we get a president who behaves from a Democratic perspective, who behaves the way President Trump does, Elon Musk's businesses are in jeopardy. I can see them federalizing a couple of these things. And who's going to push back at it? Who's going to say, oh, we're interrupting the free market? Well, we just had 8 years of Donald Trump interrupting the free market in this imperial presidency.
Donald Trump is not a free market capitalist.
I'm telling you, Elon Musk is going to get his here soon. Even with the $1 trillion, they're going to get him.
Oh, how about that?
Well,
he might only be worth $10 billion.
I know. Poor guy.
I know.
John Hancock, you're the best.
Thank you.
We appreciate you.
I'm happy to be leaving.
And
going to go play sport or a competition?
A game.
I'm going to go work. I'm going to go
Monopoly.
work.
And Michael Kelly.
I'm sticking with you.
Yep, he's sticking with me all day because Chris Ranji's on assignment. More of the Chris and Amy Show next.
Men, if you're suffering from erectile dysfunction or PE, you're not alone. Most importantly, you don't have to live with it. Paramount Men's Medical Center restores men's sex lives in just one visit. Their painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, even when Viagra and Cialis don't work. Here's Dr. Simovitz, specialist in men's health.
Paramount Men's Medical Center's painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, regardless of age or medical history. 98% of patients see instant results right in the office.
Men are now lasting longer than they ever imagined. And the best part, at Paramount Men's Medical Center, your consultation and first treatment are free. Qualified patients even get their testosterone checked free. Call 314-720-8444. 314-720-8444. Take control of your sex life. Call now. 314-720-8444.
This is the story of the one who keeps multiple buildings running smoothly day after day. Plumbing that flows, HVAC that hums, cleaning supplies that keep surfaces sparkling. That's why she counts on Grainger. With easy reordering online and 24/7 support, Grainger helps her keep the products she needs on hand. So shelves stay stocked and buildings stay ready. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
It's your captain speaking. To the passenger with the Mirror Fast soft chews, smart move.
No way am I letting travel constipation ruin this trip.
Can't blame you. Mirror Fast works fast, but without the harsh side effects.
Since I'm such a smart traveler, can I move to first class?
No. Close the curtain, Carol.
From the makers of Miralax, new Mirafast soft chews work naturally with your body in as little as 30 minutes to give you a comfortable go on the go. Find Mirafast today at your local retailer. Use as directed for occasional constipation. Contains magnesium hydroxide.
Hi, I'm Jim Brennan with McKelvey Homes. We are so excited about our new The Estates of Post Farms, a family-oriented community in the booming area of O'Fallon on Highway N. Take advantage of the best selection of home sites, including lakefront and wooded lots. Save $75,000 in free options and get up to an additional $15,000 cash at close for a limited time. Visit McKelveyHomes.com. Isn't it time to move up to McKelvey?
Experience the fierce passion and forbidden love of Romeo and Juliet at Opera Theater of St. Louis. This summer, let the world's most famous love stories sweep you off your feet with epic romance, drama, and heartbreak. See Shakespeare's masterpiece brought to life on stage with a lush score that will stir your soul. Performances run from June 13th through 27th. Tickets start at just $25. Secure your seats today at experienceopera.org for a magical summer night.
Celebrating 100 years of informing and entertaining. KMOX AM St. Louis, KMOX FM Hazelwood, the voice of St. Louis.
It is 10 o'clock. We have sunshine and 75 degrees in downtown St. Louis. I'm Debbie Monterey. The city's public school central office is closed after the detection of a potentially deadly bacteria. Legionella bacteria has been detected in the water systems of the St. Louis Public School central office on 11th Street. That bacteria can cause Legionnaire's disease and Pontiac fever. Initial testing did not determine whether the bacteria are alive or at concerning levels. More testing is being done. An ABC News investigation reveals the vast majority of immigrants detained by ICE are not violent criminals, and many being deported are spouses of U.S. citizens. ABC's Matt Rivers reports.
It's been more than 3 months since Maria, a U.S. citizen and mother of 3 in Tennessee, has seen her husband, Orlin Carrasco. Carrasco, who entered the U.S. as a 17-year-old unaccompanied minor in 2013, was detained by immigration authorities at a courthouse in Tennessee.
The ICE agents were already waiting for them to arrest them.
After paying fees related to a traffic ticket he received, according to his attorney. New government data analyzed by ABC News shows that the vast majority of migrants detained are not violent offenders.
The Trump administration continues to say they're getting rid of the worst, but that ABC analysis shows only 3 to 5% of those detained have violent felony convictions. The majority have no criminal history at all. After declaring the war with Iran over yesterday, President Trump now says Iran, quote, better get their act together and fast. Taking to social media, Trump expressed anger over Iranian drone attacks on 2 ships in the Strait of Hormuz, saying they were rebuffed. We get more from ABC News White House correspondent Karen Travers.
He did sound certain yesterday that there was such progress made that he was even talking about a potential signing deal with the vice president in Geneva this weekend. And sources say that the administration was actually planning for that. But the president just posted on social media calling into question where things stand right now.
2 East St. Louis men have been arrested for first-degree murder. 18-year-old Rashad Bonner and 12-year-old DeMontez Williams were arrested in connection with the murder of 22-year-old Dwayne Wright of Belleville. Wright was shot multiple times while walking with the suspects in the area of 84th Street and St. Clair County Jail pending their first court appearances. A man arrested after abandoning his dying Rottweiler in East St. Louis.
A local animal welfare nonprofit received a call for the dog who was left in a hotel parking lot in Washington Park, Illinois on Wednesday. The dog was hyperthermic and had been dragged by its collar and left behind by its owner, who was a visitor staying at the hotel. On Thursday, the Rottweiler was euthanized after it began having seizures and its health started to rapidly decline. The owner was arrested and criminal charges are being pursued. Jade Aubrey, KMOX News.
Sunny, cooler, and less humid with a high of 85 this afternoon. Patchy clouds return tonight, low 68, turning more humid again tomorrow, an afternoon thunderstorm. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Heather Zaire on 104.1 FM KMOX.
From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, it is sunny and 75 degrees. I'm Debbie Monterey, KMOX News.
Brought to you by USPS Ground Advantage.
Pump up the volume.
Business moves fast.
Pump up the volume.
When you ship with USPS Ground Advantage, you can keep up with confidence. Visit USPS.com/Ground Advantage to learn more.
The Chris and Amy Show on 104.1 FM KMOX and the free Odyssey app.
Michael Kelly, Amy Mark Scores with you on a Friday. And we have a special guest in Studio B because every Friday we talk to one of the awesome reporters at St. Louis Magazine. And Ryan Krull, in the flesh, right here in Studio B, joins us.
I'm excited to be here at IRL. It's a beautiful day downtown.
IRL. And Ryan asked what we were talking about right before he came on the air, right? Like right when he was in the green room. And we said we're talking about Elon Musk becoming the first trillionaire, and then how John broke the cardinal rule of radio, which is asking a math question. I didn't have a pencil and paper to write out the zeros. But I did want to say this, because the Wall Street Journal, it's pretty funny, put out a story how we don't understand what a trillion is. We think we do, but we really don't. And for perspective, 1 million seconds ago, 1 million seconds ago was 2 weeks ago. 1 billion seconds ago was 1994, right when Pulp Fiction was about to come out. 1 trillion seconds ago, what do you think that is? Well, as the Wall Street Journal points out, whatever number is in your head, you might want to add some millennia, because 1 trillion seconds ago was back in the Ice Age.
Wow.
So
that's nuts.
That's nuts. Yeah, pretty interesting.
You know who puts almost out a trillion pieces of content a week? That's Ryan Kroll.
Oh, wow.
The amount of stuff that comes out of St. Louis Magazine on a daily basis and on a weekly basis, I think, is unrivaled by almost any place in town.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that segue, too. That was very...
Buddy, I've been doing radio for a long time. I'll teach you some of this stuff later.
This isn't his first rodeo, buddy. Well, speaking of millions, billions, and trillions, let's start with our first story with you, which, Michael, Ryan Kroll is officially our derelict car reporter, insider.
Do you have a derelict car?
No, I do not. I do not. I don't have that firsthand experience. I've certainly seen quite a few, though.
Oh, so you're talking about the cars that just get left here in the city of St. Louis? Oh, I've had them across the street from my office, sometimes months at a time.
Michael Kelly is a great resource for you, Ryan, because he has worked and
Come
lived
on down.
downtown
20
forever.
years I've been down here. I can give you all the insights, but sometimes cars, as you know, can sit there for months.
And so,
yes.
Yeah, and you said, Ryan, that the city so far has netted nearly $1 million in parking fees and fines.
Just by enforcing the parking laws. Yeah, so basically, St. Louis Magazine, KSDK, a few other news organizations kind of started reporting on the fact that these cars were just sitting there, stationary, abandoned for months, if not years. And I think we reported back in March that there was $10 million in outstanding parking tickets owed to the city. And I think this kind of lit a fire under the treasurer's office in particular, because he's the one in charge of all things parking. So he again started booting cars. The city started towing them. And in just about 12 weeks, they brought in $1 million cash into city coffers.
Well, help me out with this, though, because I feel like one of the only parts of city government that works are those ticket writers. And they've been out there the last couple of years. They just haven't been enforcing it. So when I've been paying my fees, I was wasting my time. I shouldn't have been doing it.
Well, I think you were being a good citizen. I mean, I was paying them as well. And I'm happy for a relatively small percentage of that money to go back into the city. Yeah. But, so basically the issue was that you could just continually rack up, $20 at a time, ticket after ticket after ticket. And in some cases, like there was I got a list of the sort of all the cars that had large outstanding fees. So there was folks who owed $40,000, $35,000. And basically, sure, you would owe the city that money, but you were never actually facing any repercussions. So they eventually now in the last few months have started booting the cars and towing them. And that's been, I think, a minor windfall for the cities.
So, and just to be clear, this money is not coming from those people paying the $30,000, right? This is coming from booting the cars, towing them, and selling them?
That's a chunk of it. That's about a quarter of it. Yeah, it's basically, you accrue a large amount of tickets that you owe. The city takes your car to the city tow lot, which is like car jail.
Mine's been there.
You're in car jail?
Oh, I have been in the past, 10 years ago. I've had and it's not easy. You got to show up with cash. You can't pay with a credit card. You can't pay with a check. You got to show up with cash, and it's not the most efficient operation, so you may spend an hour or two there waiting on it.
I think it's gotten a little smoother as of late. They've put a lot of energy into the tow lot in the last few months. But basically, about $250,000 comes from basically the city putting the cars in car jail. No one comes for 30 days to bail them out. and then the city can sell them. So there's actually been a few nice cars that have like sold for like 15 grand, that kind of thing.
Really? And they have like an auction for that?
They
or-
haven't. Yeah, I think it's every Friday. I've been to one. It's been a while, but yeah, a lot of the cars are just like destroyed, cars that were in wrecks. But occasionally there's some pretty nice ones, and you wonder, who's letting this thing, just chill on the city streets.
I think in your story, was it a Jeep Cherokee?
Yeah.
A Jeep Grand Cherokee that sold for $15,000. Who
Hey,
leaves
now.
that in this economy?
Right.
Who
Yeah,
leaves
yeah.
that car on the street?
Wow.
Exactly.
So, okay, I mean, when the cars go to car jail, do they make sure that they weren't stolen vehicles and all of that?
Yeah, so they contact the owner if there's like a bank or a dealership that has a lien, if there's like if the car's leased or whatever. Yeah, they make every effort to contact the owner, come pick it up. Yeah, pay whatever it is. It could be a lot of money. It could be a relatively small amount of money to get the car out of car jail. But yeah, if it sits there for 30 days in the tow lot, then they start the auction process. But then the rest of the $1 million came from basically people realizing, oh crap,
I might get booted.
And sort of getting right with the city.
Really?
So that's the other like 750 grand is
And
money.
You know what the worst part of the boot is? Is that sticker they put on your
Yeah.
window that must have like cement in it.
Yeah.
Like, you cannot get that sticker off.
Well, I think it's there maybe in part for shame purposes. the
shame.
scarlet
It's
sticker.
like a dog with its,
The
cone.
cone, yeah,
Oh,
yeah, yeah.
man.
So, okay, so 750 grand has been just people getting right with the city. Do you know who the worst offender was? Did someone really show up and pay $7,000?
I don't know about $7,000. The worst offender that I've just come across, like in the wild, I guess you could say,
Yeah.
was it was a car that was booted in like the Midtown area, and it owed around $5 grand. And then I just asked a city streets insider, I guess someone kind of in the department, and he said, "Oh yeah, that person paid to get the car out." So that's $5 grand right there.
Wow.
I suspect that's not the highest, but I think that's on the upper.
I wonder if you can write that off.
Yeah, because you can be doing pretty well for yourself, and trying to come up with $5 or $7 grand pretty quickly is tough. I mean, that's a lot of money. That's why I was shocked that many people stepped up in 3 months alone.
Yeah.
And paid $750,000 collectively.
I totally agree. I think a lot of
Wow.
that though was kind of like low hanging fruit
Mhm.
because these laws hadn't really been enforced since 2020, the pandemic. So I think there's a lot of folks who would, with just the tiniest little nudge, would be happy
Wow.
to pay those parking tickets. So I think a lot of that was like 6 years of accumulated, folks racking up.
Ryan, when
fines.
this money comes in, what does it go to? It just doesn't go to general revenue because isn't the treasurer involved in like parking garages that got notes on it, etc.?
Yeah, exactly. So money, it's really gets in the weeds fast. But all the cars that are sold from the tow lot, 100% of that money goes into the general revenue because that's from the towing division, and the towing division is a city office. So all that money goes to general revenue. Yeah, but money that goes to the treasurer's office, for instance, like the parking tickets that you pay, you have to pay, I think it's $50 to get the boot off your car if the car gets booted. I think it's 60% of that stays with the treasurer's office to further do whatever he's going to do with it. Kind of, buy parking garages, operate parking garages, continue to pay a third party to ticket your car, that kind of thing. But 40% does go to the general revenue. So yeah, so like for instance, the mayor is always very unhappy with the fact that I asked her at a press conference once, she said, yeah, I'm not happy. There's $10 million in outstanding parking fees, but even if we were to collect 100% of it, the city would only get $4 million. So, and that dates back to decades ago where the state put the treasurer's office, they made it a county office, like the sheriff's office, for instance, a few others, rather than a sort of part of like the mayor's administration.
Why not chop it up more? We can't chop up our government too much, right?
Well, it's like they took a game of Boggle and just threw us in it.
It's certainly not creating inefficiencies because to that point, as you note, the streets department reports to the treasurer. To the mayor.
To the mayor, yeah.
But the mayor, even though she is the mayor, doesn't really have any authority over the treasurer.
100%, yes.
And the treasurer is the one that's in charge of the stuff that's going on with the street department?
So basically, yeah, there's so many cooks in the kitchen just to enforce parking fines, which as you alluded to is a huge issue. So yeah, basically it's the treasurer's office's job, and like about 90% of what they do is the parking division. So it's his job to write the tickets, boot the car, but then he has to coordinate with the towing division, which is a city office, to actually come and tow the car. And for the longest time, the towing division was saying, yeah, we are happy to tow cars. What are we going to do other than tow cars? We're the towing division. But the treasurer's office wasn't booting them. So it was basically asking like the towing division to chase a moving target. It might say, oh, there's this car we'd like to tow. We can't tell you where it is. It could be, you don't want to tow a car from someone's driveway. That looks horrible. So the fact that now they're kind of all working on the same page, more or less, is how we could be able to get that $1 million.
So, since you know so much about this, I'm fascinated by it because I at times I despise the parking meter folks. Sure. But then I'm like, man, this is the only part of government seems to be working. Like, they're always out there. I wish we could give them a gun and a badge and make them cops. What with the decline in population, and as somebody who's been down here for 20 years, I'm seeing less and less cars on the street. Period.
Yeah.
Is the treasurer's office and the whole parking division really kind of losing revenue? Obviously, they're making it up right now on these past fines, but the reality is there's less and less people and cars in downtown St. Louis.
Yeah, that is true. The treasurer Adam Lane gave a presentation to the city's budget committee earlier this year, and he projected basically steady revenue. Okay. Like, I don't think they're looking at big increases. They do have those parking garages. I think there's a lot of opportunities for growth. Like, the treasurer's office sort of strangely owns a decent amount of commercial real estate.
Right.
Yeah, on the first floor of those garages. And the one, whenever he gave this presentation, I couldn't help but kind of chuckle to myself because everything was pretty flat, right? Kind of one fiscal year to the next. The one thing that was projected to increase by like 485% was revenue from those boots, because they went from essentially zero to some enforcement. So I do see what you're saying. And I think also there's this issue where you don't want to like over-enforce parking, right? You don't want to be booting people's cars for relatively minor things. You don't want like a tourist to have a bad experience by a parking ticket. So I get that like he's got kind of a needle he's got to thread.
Okay, I highly recommend you sign up for the St. Louis Magazine newsletter every morning. It comes in your mailbox, everything you need to know. And here's the thing, why I'm so fascinated. People are like, I can't believe you're talking about derelict cars and parking. It's because I have this theory that whenever there's a lot of anything, it becomes a story. Yes, a parking ticket or an abandoned car is not a story unless there's a bazillion of them. Just like if I have one catalytic converter, nobody cares. But if I have 100, suddenly there's something there. Feels nefarious. So this story and the numbers that you have, Ryan, are really, really interesting. You have time to stick around for a few more minutes?
Yeah, I'd love to.
All right. We've got more to talk about with the Board of Aldermen, tweaking the Rams settlement money, also some new regulations restricting data centers in the city of St. Louis. It's the Chris and Amy Show on KMOX.
Spring is here in St. Louis, and if you're thinking about selling, now's the time. But timing is only part of it. This is Debbie Monterey, and I'm with Gloria Liu, your home sold guaranteed realty. Gloria, why is it still so important to choose the right realtor?
Simple. Not every home is selling fast or for top dollar. Here's the difference. I already have the buyers. With over 2,400 buyers in waiting, I'm not just listing your home. I'm matching it with demand. That's how I offer my guaranteed sale program. We sit down, agree on the price and timeline, and if your home doesn't sell, I'll buy it myself. But my goal isn't to buy your home, it's to sell it for the most money possible in the least amount of time. And that's exactly what my system does. My clients don't have to hope their home sells. I guarantee it.
If you're selling your home this spring, call the one I trust, Gloria Liu, 314-325-6888, or GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. That's GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. Gloria and seller must agree on price and possession date.
As dads, it's our job to capture as many memories with our kids as possible. It's also our job to embarrass them, and if we're lucky, we get to do both. That's why I'm thankful my son created Legacy Box, the world's largest digitizer of home movies and photos.
And I'll never recover from the time you showed up to my middle school dance to disco in front of everyone. Thanks, Dad. But he's right. Simply fill your Legacy Box with your old VHS, camcorder tapes, film reels, and photos, and we'll do the rest.
And in just a couple of weeks, you'll get your originals back, along with a DVD, thumb drive, or cloud delivery. Stuff that even an old man like me can figure out.
Plus, for a limited time, we're offering a special Father's Day sale.
Go to legacybox.com/radio to get an incredible deal. Buy today to take advantage of this limited offer. Go to legacybox.com/radio
to get started and save.
legacybox.com/radio.
Hi, St. Louis. This is Ben Barnett, board-certified master arborist and owner of Timberline Professional Tree Care. The weather's warming up, flowers are blooming, and it's time to get back outside and start thinking about your trees. When you reach for your phone to call a tree contractor, we hope you'll give Timberline the opportunity to earn your business. Timberline is locally owned and operated and fully dedicated to delivering the best overall customer experience while providing the highest quality care for your trees. Every one of our crews includes at least one ISA-certified arborist on site, not just in the office, but right there at your home, so you can be confident the work is done safely, correctly, and always with your tree's best interests in mind. From planting and fertilization to pruning and removal, we're committed to excellence in everything trees. So when it's time to make that call Timberline Professional Tree Care at 636-479-7475 or visit us online at stltreecare.com.
When you enter a place of business, you're owed a legal duty that the place of business is safe for you to shop in. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. If you suffered an injury at a place of business, our duty is to protect you after that harm. Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance engineer at a beverage manufacturing plant, he starts his day knowing every line is ready to run because Grainger delivers the industrial-grade products he needs to keep mixers, conveyors, and packaging equipment moving. With Grainger's vast selection of bearings, belts, and motors, he keeps operations running smoothly, so nothing grinds to a halt. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Too many tools, too much stress, and way too many bills.
Odoo replaces it all. One connected platform for every part of your business, so you can work faster, smarter, and for less. Odoo, the only software you'll ever need. Try it free today at odoo.com. That's ODOO.com. Proudly serving St. Louis for over 100 years. KMOX, the voice of St. Louis.
Michael Kelly, Amy Mark scores with you on a Friday. Ryan Kroll of St. Louis Magazine hanging out with us this morning.
Let me see your fingers. I would think that you would have burn marks on your fingers. You type. I'm telling you, I read more from Ryan Kroll than I do from anywhere else, and I read a lot.
I appreciate that.
How are you guys putting out all that content?
I think me and my boss, Sarah Finsky, we're both very just maybe a little bit anxious. We always feel like we're just only as good as our last story, so we're very much always trying to kind of outdo ourselves.
Well, I echo what Amy said. Go sign up for their morning newsletter, and St. Louis Magazine's got some good, thought-provoking stuff that y'all are putting out.
Let's talk data centers, Ryan. I know that St. Louis planners, they've got some ideas to regulate at least bigger data centers.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that definition of a big data centers has changed. Where are we so far right now with that?
Yeah, so basically if you recall, I think it was in September of last year, there was a pressure on the mayor to put in a data center moratorium.
Mm-hmm.
And she didn't want to do that. She didn't want to just stop all data center development entirely. So she issued an executive order that had some regulations in the interim, but she said, meanwhile, sort of the folks who really know zoning and planning and that kind of thing, they're going to put together a more holistic framework. And they just completed that on Wednesday night. And then it still has to go to the Board of Aldermen to be approved, and then the mayor has to sign it. But I really have to commend the sort of city planning commission here. They seem to really be interested in kind of threading the needle, where they understand these things aren't very popular. No one wants one of these data centers in their backyard, yet we don't necessarily want, if this truly is like the next big thing, like the railroads or like the oil or whatever, we don't want to not be on the boat whenever it leaves the port. So they are allowing data center construction in the city under these rules, although it would be highly regulated. There's a lot of stuff related to green energy. There's a lot of stuff as to, depending on the size of the data center, where it can be built, water usage, distance from things like schools. So this seems really well thought out, which I know is famous last words,
Yeah.
right? But this seems like it's been hours and hours and hours of public comment and debate and discussion. And a lot of people on this board, I think, are anti-data center. Some are sort of more neutral. So I feel like they've had a lot of cooks in the kitchen in a good way. But we'll see how it does when it goes to the Board of Aldermen.
So where will they be relegated to? Like North Broadway, where you have a lot of the industrial stuff that exists right now?
Yeah, so the biggest of the big data centers, and this goes by energy usage and size. So I think like a big the biggest of the big is up to 500,000 square feet. Yeah, that is like the North Broadway, the industrial areas, anything it's technically termed Zone K. And it's basically the stuff where you have your heavy industry right now. In theory, there could be one of these huge data centers there. It would still have to get permits from the city. It would still have to be, I think it's like 600 feet from a house or a school or even like a bus stop. So it's pretty limited where this stuff could go. Now there's smaller data centers, could be downtown, even in some commercial real estate. So they've basically classified data centers in 3 different categories, and each one has in each of those 3 categories is allowed to be in different parts of town.
And Ryan, as you noted, I think there are already about a dozen smaller data centers surrounding us downtown, and there's a data center right there across from the old Chesterfield Mall and the medical building. It's a nice glass medical building, and there, small data center there. But you talked specifically about the Zone K or the K zoning, which would be the bigger data centers. And I know everyone's thinking about the Armory.
Yeah.
So, which is not the data center, that would be the office, but the old Famous Bar warehouse next to it, that does classify as Zone K, correct?
That does classify as Zone K, exactly. And that also is a little bit a unique case because this framework, if the mayor signs it, would only affect new data center development, so that the data center that's going to go by the Armory potentially, that would be grandfathered in. And this framework wouldn't necessarily apply to it.
Okay, gotcha. And when it comes to that Famous Bar data center we've talked about, I mean, no one seemed to care about that building. It's right next to the highway, so the noise isn't going to be an issue. So that one so far could move forward.
Exactly. I think there's still a lot of questions around that project. But yeah, as far as I know, I think it's on July 1st, actually. Because if you recall, it got the approval of one board, then some citizens appealed, and now it needs the approval of a second board. That meeting's going to be on July 1st, actually. And from what I understand, basically, this second appeals board will hear the anti-data center folks' arguments, and then they'll make a decision basically right away. So I think we'll know 7-1 whether or not that data center next to the Armory is going to go or not. Yeah.
Okay. Now, after you leave us, you're headed over to City Hall.
Yes.
What are you covering today with the Board of Aldermen?
I'm just curious. 2 things. It's the Rams bill, the money to spend the Rams settlement money is going to be what they call second read. That usually is pretty low key and kind of perfunctory. However, given all the energy and discord around the Rams settlement funds, I'm curious to see if anything happens. The other thing I'm curious to just talk to folks about is, I know you guys have talked about the police board quite a bit. They're going to have their first second meeting in total, first meeting of this year. That's where they're encouraging the public to come and comment on the police board. And it seems like the sort of state-appointed board of police commissioners has become sort of more and more contentious among just the everyday folks. I think more and more people are just like stopping me on the street wanting to talk about it. So I'd be very curious to sort of see what kind of crowd shows up for that meeting on Wednesday. So anyway, I'm curious to talk to the aldermen and women. Basically, what are you hearing from your constituents? You had so many people show up to sort of publicly comment on this Rams money. Do you think there's going to be a similar energy on the police board on Wednesday?
So at the Board of Aldermen, it was like everywhere else. There were some people who wanted local control to remain, some that wanted state control. Now that we're a year into this experiment, and I don't think many of us think things are better. In fact, we think it's gotten more contentious. Are you starting to see a coalescing of aldermen saying collectively, like, if this is where we're going to go, we need to rework it together?
Oh, 100%. I think the aldermen, generally speaking, they were skeptical of this from the get-go, but they've only become more so. And what's really struck me, though, is the fact that, you expect the aldermen to kind of have an opinion on this stuff, right? What I'm finding is just more and more sort of the average person on the street. This is like something that they want to talk about. I had a canvasser come to my house recently for the state senate, I believe it was. And the first thing he brought up was the police board.
Wow.
And it's usually like healthcare or like abortion or something like that. So the fact that even the guys door knocking for political campaigns are leading with the police board would make me think this is becoming a hot topic.
Good stuff. Ryan Kroll, St. Louis Magazine. We look forward to talking to you soon. We'll release you to the wild to go cover City Hall.
We got to go type something so we can put out more content.
I know. Amazing. We really appreciate your time this morning. Thank you for joining us.
Hey, happy to be here.
Ryan Kroll from St. Louis Magazine. Sign up for their newsletter. It's the best thing in your inbox every morning. It is the Chris and Amy Show on KMOX.
The Chris and Amy Show on 104.1 FM KMOX, sponsored by Community America Credit Union in Des Peres. Invested in STL. Invested in you. Now open.
Some shows are about sports. Some shows are about nothing. This one's kind of both.
So the show's not really a sports show per se. It's just a show. Glover here, we talk about whatever is happening, life, work, random stuff. And yeah, the Cardinals always find their way in. I'm a lifelong fan, love going to the games, love supporting the team, and love hanging out with you guys.
The Dave Glover Show at 1, and then Cardinals baseball.
Senior reporting software engineer, DriveCentric, limited liability company based in St. Louis, Missouri, to develop and maintain sophisticated back-end and front-end reporting solutions, data pipelines and visualizations, providing metrics to auto dealerships for sales and marketing function decision-making. Fully remote, must reside within the continental United States, requires quarterly travel to corporate headquarters in St. Louis, Missouri, approximately once every 3 months, for approximately 3 to 5 business days per trip. Apply online at drivecentric.com/company/careers.
Now, KMOX weather from the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk.
This KMOX weather forecast is sponsored by Sandberg Phoenix Law Firm. You don't have to litigate this one. It's 76 degrees out there. We're only going to a high of 84 today, and it's quite a change from yesterday. Man, is it going to be beautiful this weekend? A high in the mid-70s on Sunday.
Sandberg Phoenix serves your business in litigation, intellectual property, and products liability. We're more than a law firm. We're committed to your success. Learn more at sandbergphoenix.com. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertising.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Okay, USA fans, this one is for you because the big game tonight against Paraguay is happening, and FanDuel is dropping a massive USA Super Boost, and here's how it works. All customers can win up to $25 if the U.S. has 1+ shot. That is not a mistake. Just one shot will get it done, and that's one of the biggest boosts yet by FanDuel, and all you need is one moment from the U.S. to cash in. Back the USA and get in on this huge Super Boost before kickoff. Go to FanDuel.com/Missouri to get started now. FanDuel.com/Missouri, only on FanDuel. Must be 21 or over and present in Missouri. Opt-in required. Must wager in designated offer market. Max wager $25. Restrictions apply. See full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Looking for something new? Lombardo Homes is excited to introduce 2 brand new opportunities in St. Charles County. Discover Crooked Creek at Cottleville Trails, featuring stylish new townhomes from the high 300s and access to incredible amenities that make Cottleville Trails one of the area's most sought-after communities. Or find the space you've been dreaming of at South Point Estates, where expansive 3+ acre home sites and top-rated Wentzville schools create the perfect setting for your custom dream home. Visit LombardoHomes.com to learn more about these exciting new communities.
Nothing makes a gathering great like Eggland's Best Eggs. They're just so delicious with better nutrition, too. For us, it's eggs any style, as long as they're the best. Eggland's Best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
Get this, 42% of baby boomers don't even know how much money they have in their nest egg. If you're not sure where you stand in terms of getting ready for retirement, you should be listening to the All Financial Hour with Steve All.
Let's sit down and talk about your questions, because I think that's the most important thing that it is out there. It's what questions do you have?
Saturday mornings at 10 or Sunday evenings at 6, right here on KMOX.
Mizzou football will be here before you know it. Join us for the 100th anniversary of Memorial Stadium with season tickets. Join the season ticket waitlist at mutigers.com/FB waitlist and get ready to lock in tickets for 2026. The home schedule is highlighted by games against Florida, Texas A&M, Texas, Kentucky, and Oklahoma. Don't wait to reserve your spot. Join the waitlist at mutigers.com/FB waitlist. MIZ.
Don't miss a hot tub and swim spa blowout sale this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at the St. Charles Convention Center in the North Hall. Choose from over 25 American-made units on display. See hot tubs, swim spas, and cold tubs all ready for immediate delivery. Save up to 50% on MSRP. Financing is available. For more info, call 1-800-SPA-SALE. That's 1-800-SPA-SALE.
Today, the Cards, the Twins.
Ameren Total Access 615, first pitch 7:10.
Cardinals Radio, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Oh, yeah.
The World Cup started yesterday in Mexico, I believe.
It did.
And today, the U.S. men's national team plays Paraguay. So that's going to be a ton of fun, 8 p.m. So with the World Cup starting, obviously, we need to talk to our soccer expert, Jen Cease, St. Louis City SC broadcaster on Y98. And Jen Cease is fresh off being the in-stadium host for the game against Bosnia and Panama last week, right?
That's right. It was so much fun. It really was a World Cup environment without really having any stakes, with both Panama and Bosnia having only their second ever World Cup appearance. They really came out for their fans and played and tested one another so they could test themselves. And the coolest part was to hear not only from the Bosnia coach, like they knew they were walking into St. Louis with a big Bosnian crown, but the Panama coach after the game was stunned at the turnout from the Panamanian side. It was a great game.
Jen, I couldn't get into the stadium. I walked by it, and to hear the singing chants,
yes,
it was super cool. I felt like I was in Europe.
It really was. And so when you get the Bosnian side, their chants are one way, and then you had the Panamanian side, which answers them. They're a little bit more like carnival, a little bit more feel that way. And I'll tell you, I got to give the Panamanians a lot of credit. Every Bosnian chant, which were amazing, Panamania was loud. They answered in full force. And so really, truly, as somebody who's neither of those in terms of heritage, I didn't know who to root for. It was so much fun just to get, and then to see also the guys on the field respond to that, because it was hot. And I will tell you, I think Panama probably is a little bit more used to this weather, but Bosnia definitely was not. And so I've seen images of Norwegian players, I think, laying on the grass after a training because they're ready to just die. So you can really see the fan excitement push the players to perform and really give it out there for those fans that showed up for them. It was awesome to see, and it's just going to be another, 39 or 38 days of that for the World Cup.
I love it, Jen, because I talked to several people who were at that game and said you didn't feel like you were in St. Louis at all, like in a good way, in the sense that you felt like you were suddenly transported to this international atmosphere. I love the fact that, obviously, like you said, Bosnia played here. We have the largest Bosnian community in the United States is right here in St. Louis. And I will say this with the World Cup atmosphere, because I went to a game years ago, not a World Cup game, but it was at the Dome, and I think did Ronaldo play at the Dome like 2013 or something like that? Like it was years ago.
I know what you're talking about.
Yes, and I went with my friends and their family and friends who are all from Mexico. And let me tell you, Jen, I thought I had seen a tailgate before. I was wrong. I had never seen a tailgate at a parking lot party until you party with the Mexican soccer fans.
No, 100%. And then the cool part is with, when it comes to American tailgating, I feel like for most of our sports, we kind of do it the same, but you never know what you're going to get with the two crowds that are showing up. Their cultures are so different. So what they bring in food is different. If they're playing music, it's different. Some of them are dancing.
Yeah.
They're having a great time in the parking lot alone before they even go into the game. And I agree. I was in the stadium and I saw culture. I heard culture. I could see the differences and hear them all throughout the stadium. So that was great to see. And then you could also, as a soccer person looking at the game is the game, and there is a way to play it, but there's also a lot of difference. So I saw differences too in the way Bosnia approached the game and the way Panama approached the game and how they responded to each other, which is, as a country, as you play through, you're going to get that every single game, somebody with maybe a very different style than your own.
Well, yesterday was opening day, and about 1:30, everybody in my office matriculated out to the bar that we have in the center of our office with the television on, and the World Cup got started. Quite a game that took place down there in Mexico, quite an atmosphere, as well as it was a pretty violent game. They were going at it pretty hard.
Yeah, they let the referee get those red cards out, didn't they?
Yeah.
They're like, let me see if you really have it in your pocket. And yes, in fact, the referee did. So yeah, for sure. This is a high stakes. Everything, even right now when you play in group play, you're not going to be knocked out yet, but where you seed in your group really matters, because if you seed number one, if you get through to single elimination, now you're going to be seeded then and playing against one of those wild card teams that had to barely get through. And that's a good place to be. If you play second, then you're probably facing somebody who played second in their group. But if you are one of those wild card teams, one of those 8 teams that complete the final number for the knockout games, then you are going to face a powerhouse. You're like, congratulations on winning your group. Here's England.
Yeah, right.
It's like, great. Can we be like that 1950 team with 5 guys from the Hill? I mean, that would be a great story, but I'd rather not chance it.
Right. So the good guys start tonight. Where's the game at?
That's right. Let's see, guys. It's all over the United States, of course, Canada, and Mexico, as you guys just talked about yesterday. So the U.S. men's national team plays at SoFi Stadium, so that's formerly Los Angeles Stadium. So in California, I know California has quite a range of weather because it's such a big state, but I would imagine the guys are probably pretty used to that, and Paraguay's not going to have any problem with the weather there and planning for that. And of course, there will be, I have been asked before about the mandatory water breaks. Some people in soccer like it. Some people in soccer don't like it. But I will say I was just out at City's opening. They actually had their opening event to celebrate their summer of soccer yesterday under the arch. Some kids were playing. It was a whole lot of fun. And, oh, my gosh, it was so hot. Water was flowing, but it was ridiculously hot. And we were just kicking the ball around. We were, going at our full top speed. So I think the water breaks are a good idea, no matter if they even kind of slow the game down a little bit, which is not what most soccer fans want to see.
So I think this is the latest prediction that people are saying bet the over on 2.5 goals for this game, U.S. versus Paraguay, where the U.S. is predicted or projected to win 2-1. Do you agree with that prediction, and why is that the prediction?
Yeah, I don't know necessarily why they picked the goals. Now, it could be because they look at your last friendly against Germany. So the U.S. men's national team went down early, and I think if you were any one of us watching, you were like, yep, that tracks, okay. What's going to happen? How are they going to respond? But they did. They came back and responded. They ultimately lost 2-1, but that's a friendly, and that is very respectable against another powerhouse, which is Germany. So the U.S. men's national team is capable of scoring goals. Christian Pulisic, if he is on, firing on all cylinders, and the guys around him, and they don't make defensive mistakes. I feel like we're repeating ourselves sometimes when we talk about St. Louis City SC, right? Mm-hmm. Is that on this level, you can't have that bad touch. You can't have that one thing go wrong, because the other team, even if they're not one of the big powerhouses, have been chopping at the bit to get here, and they will punish you for that. And now you're fighting against it. But the U.S. men, of course, have the stadium behind them. They've got the home fans behind them, and that is a factor as well. So I could see that scoreline. I'd like to see it at 0 for us, of course. That's always good. The more you score in the World Cup, the better you do. in the seeding and getting through the group stage. So I think that they definitely can beat Paraguay. They cannot be complacent. And they also, I've read a little bit too about the U.S. men's national team knowing that maybe perhaps you can't always play highbrow. Maybe you can't always play above board. The last time they faced Paraguay, there were a lot of calls, and maybe a lot of those calls didn't go the U.S. men's national team way because maybe Paraguay has a little bit of a different culture in terms of getting fouled and going down, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the U.S. has gotten a little bit smarter about like, hey, we need to make sure we don't get pulled out of our game by what they're going to do. And we also are savvy about what we do against Paraguay. So I think we're going to have a win tonight.
Hey, Jen, I know the World Cup brings a lot of eyeballs on soccer that don't normally watch soccer. And kind of like how I am with March Madness and college basketball, I'm learning about the teams and the players as I watch it, but I love to watch it. That's how it is with the World Cup for a lot of people. So for listeners who will be watching the U.S. men's national team tonight, what are 3 names they should know on the U.S. men's national team and why? Like, oh yeah, Jen C said to look out for that guy.
Yeah, well, the first one, of course, and I guess we can't talk about the coach Mauricio Pochettino, but it goes without mentioning that, you have to talk about Poch in terms of the fact that for the long time the United States has been saying, we got to get a really, high-level coach from Europe, and we did. Mauricio Pochettino comes from Europe. He's coached those teams over in UEFA, so he definitely knows what he's doing there. The other ones, when you talk about who to look at on the field, you're going to look at Christian Pulisic. He's a winger, attacking midfielder. He's played over at AC Milan, and he's got a nickname called Captain America. He's the biggest star on the team. He's fast. He's tricky with the ball, and he really creates the team's most scoring advantages and chances. So I'm not saying you don't create your entire attack around Christian Pulisic, but you need to make sure he's involved. If you look at St. Louis City SC, just as an example, if you're a fan over here, you're going to make sure that Edward Lubin and Marcel Hartl in the attack, if they're not, we're probably not going to score. Christian Pulisic is the same. The other couple of people you want to talk about is Weston McKennie. He's a midfielder as well, played at Juventus. He's really the energetic heart and soul. He's strong in the air. He wins balls back, and he likes to push forward. So obviously a good partner for Christian Pulisic. And then I think the other one to talk about too, there's several more, but Tyler Adams. He's a defensive midfielder. So that is also the heartbeat of the team, not just the attacking part, but the middle part of your field that think about Chris Durkin and what he does for St. Louis City SC, shuts things down. He's the midfielder enforcer. He constantly breaks up plays, opposes the attack, and then pushes the ball forward back to Christian and Weston. So those are 3 names that you can look at and see what they do on the field. If those 3 have control and they are high vibes running on all cylinders, the U.S. men's national team is going to control the pace of play on this game.
Yeah, and Amy, you can also use the word name Tim Ream, who's our captain, who's from St. Louis.
Yeah, sorry, Tim.
You can drop that in a cocktail party, and people will be like, "Oh, he's from St. Louis." Jen,
and he's such a nice guy too. He's the best. He's really that veteran leader that the squad looks to when, let's say, things aren't going their way or it's harder. It won't be the case so much here for the U.S. because we're home, but in those games where the U.S. has been away, the younger guys will look to Tim Ream because he's been to the dance. He knows what to do, and just really wise in terms of leading the game.
All right, Jen,
That's
take
awesome.
off your Homer hat here. Tell us right now, you can't wiggle. You got to pick a team. Who's going to win the World Cup?
Oh, really?
Yep.
Really?
Let's go.
$10 million is on the line. Hypothetically.
I'm saying the men in orange.
Okay, don't do that. Okay. I know England's a powerhouse, and you also have to look at Spain. But I would say this year, especially with Kylian Mbappe, I would look towards France.
Francois.
I think they were World Cup runners-up in 2020, champions in 2018. They have $1 billion roster. England does as well. So, I mean, $1 billion. 5 billion people will watch this game tonight.
Cease and desist. That's the answer right there. Go bet the house on France. She just told us that's what it's going to be.
You said I couldn't be a homer.
Jen, you're the best. Fun stuff. We look forward to talking to you next week. World Cup is fun.
All right, thanks, guys.
Bye-bye.
All right, bye, Jen.
Bye.
That is Jen Cease.
What a nice lady.
She calls it France. There you go.
Francois.
It's the Chris and Amy Show on KMOX.
Chris.
Broadcasting from the Scott Credit Union Studio, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Grab your shades, your float trip gear, and join us June 17th for Chris and Amy Day at Busch Stadium.
We'll be broadcasting live from the Mississippi Yacht Club pop-up bar outside Gate 1, hanging with fans and serving up some fun behind the bar.
Live music, Fred Bird special guests will all be there. Plenty of chances to stop by and say hello.
Plus, you can sit with fellow Chris and Amy listeners in our special section for just $15.
June 17th.
Chris and Amy Day at the ballpark. $15 tickets.
Get your tickets now. Cardinals.com/Chris and Amy.
Go Cards.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance engineer at a beverage manufacturing plant, he starts his day knowing every line is ready to run because Grainger delivers the industrial-grade products he needs to keep mixers, conveyors, and packaging equipment moving. With Grainger's vast selection of bearings, belts, and motors, he keeps operations running smoothly, so nothing grinds to a halt. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger.
At EasyCater, we believe every workday gets better with great food. Like that morning status meeting, always better with bagels. And don't forget the coffee. Ops team working late? How about some Power Bowls to keep them going strong? Sandy's celebrating 10 years at the company. This calls for cupcakes. With EasyCater, you get a huge variety of favorite restaurants with tools to help meet dietary needs and stay on budget, all on one platform. So make every workday better with EasyCater. Start an order at easycater.com.
If you have been in a car accident in the past and have settled your case, I may have some good news. Some unethical lawyers have people known as runners who come directly to your hospital room or home and solicit your case. It's a disbarable offense. Anyone that would hire these scumbags needs to have their heads examined. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Now for the good news. If this happened to you, we will sue these lowlifes and fight to get all your fees back. And then look and see if these bottom feeders also malpracticed your case and sue them for that too. You have nothing to lose and everything to gain. Visit forthepeople.com for a free consultation or call Pound Law on your cell, pound 529. If someone does this to you, call the Bar Association and report them. Let's fight these bums. Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com. Injured? Dial Pound Law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Let me tell you something about insurance. When you sign your insurance policy, for some brokers, that's the finish line. Handshake, commission, done. Then you may not hear from them again until it's time for renewal. But your business runs all year, so do the gaps and the risk. So go to Supersure.com. If your company has more than 25 employees, whether you're the owner, CFO, or HR manager, it can be too complex to just go buy a policy online. Supersure is the super agency built for you, licensed in every state for your business insurance and employee benefits, all with year-round support for you and your team. At Supersure.com, you can access tools like fine print facts. It'll translate your current policy into plain English so you see what's covered and what's not. Plus a business value calculator so you can estimate what your business is worth so you know what actually needs protecting. Go to Supersure.com. One super agency, one powerful platform, all your policies in one place. Supersure.com. That's Supersure.com. Paid for by Supersure Insurance Agency, LLC, a licensed insurance agency.
The Chris and Amy Show is video streaming now on KMOX's YouTube, X, and Facebook pages. Click and subscribe. Now, did you see this? With Chris and Amy.
Michael Kelly,
Yes.
I don't know if you saw this, but I believe the newest Rivian is coming
Yes.
out. The R2.
Yes.
So you have, is it the R1?
Well, the original one,
The original,
that came out.
The OG Rivian.
About the size of like a Tahoe. You know, it's a big SUV.
And it's heavy.
Oh, yeah.
Because you said during that snowstorm, because it's an
Buddy.
electric vehicle, you
Yeah.
were driving around rescuing ladies in distress.
Oh, trying to find them. But the new one that's come out, it's about the size of a Ford Explorer. I think it starts at about $40,000.
Okay. Which is, believe it or not, $10,000 cheaper than the price of your average new car.
Right.
The average new car is over $50,000 these days.
And I got to tell you, I know that I'm running into treacherous territory here, but if you're out there driving a gas car still, forget about it. I'm telling you, these electric cars are so much better. I know I'm going to get a bunch of text messages and phone calls now. That's not what we wanted, but you should give this R2 a look.
I think I'll die on my gas-guzzling hill.
Yeah, why?
It stresses me out.
You
I
haven't
stress
even
out
tried.
with my phone.
Oh, get past it. I'm telling you.
But I also, I drive to Colorado, and we don't have the infrastructure yet for
we
an
do.
EV.
It exists. You don't understand it. I'm telling you, it's out there. The machine tells you exactly where to go. Hey, you need to stop here.
But when it's cold, your battery doesn't last as long.
Right, okay. Just keep coming up with excuses. You still live in the black and white television era. I'm going to go to the streaming era.
Those were the days.
Hey,
I love black and white
did
TV
you
shows.
see this? Did you see this?
I don't know, did I?
Chris and Amy have a day at the ballpark.
I did.
Wednesday,
June 17th. Michael Kelly, are you coming to the...
I am coming after my dental appointment, which means I'm going to want to get drunk.
Yeah, or you'll be drooling.
Yeah.
Because your mouth will be numb.
How are you?
We're super excited. So $15 tickets. $15 tickets for Chris and Amy Day at the ballpark.
You can't do anything for $15 anymore.
No, but you can do this. And it's a special section in right field for the Chris and Amy show.
Tarps off section?
Right next to Tarps Off.
Amen.
And we are going to be broadcasting live from the stadium, 9 a.m. to noon. And I know you can't get in the stadium there, but we'll be there waiting for you. So we'll be near Gate 1 broadcasting 9 a.m. to noon. And then we will be bartending at the Mississippi Yacht Club, the pop-up bar there. The theme is Float Trip. So I've got my Hawaiian print shorts.
Nice.
So yeah, my float trip shorts. So the theme is Float Trip. You can come on by, say hi. I think we're bartending until about 1:45. And then we're going to make our way to the special Chris and Amy show section, the $15 tickets, hang out with all the Chris and Amy listeners, and then we're going to head over to Tarps Off, I think.
I'm coming.
We have
I'm
to
coming
go.
to this.
Yes, it's going to be so much fun, and we hope to see you there. Cardinals.com/Chris and Amy.
Amy, did you see this?
I don't know.
The Doobie Brothers and Santana are coming to St. Louis.
I think he found his Did You See This from Matt Pajeski. They are. And keep listening because we will be giving away tickets. I think this is our last pair of tickets that we're giving away this week to see the Doobie Brothers on June 20th. So keep listening. Don't call yet. But when we tell you, you'll have a chance.
Michael McDonald, he's one of those guys like Kenny Rogers that you feel like you see him everywhere because there's a bunch of people who look like him.
I'll tell you what, I didn't realize how much I liked the Doobie Brothers until I went to the Dave Glover concert. You were there.
I was
You
there.
were adorable.
Thank you. Charming is the word I was using.
Charming. You were charming. Having the time of your life. And we listened to Glover play, and then the Doobie Brothers cover band was so fun. Tribute band, I should say. I apologize. It was so fun. Hey, when we come back, Paul Brown, he's a alum of KMOX. He went on a mission to find the lost 1904 World's Fair Ferris wheel axle.
Wow.
He didn't find it.
Oh,
But-
he was like Geraldo looking into the vault.
But he's going to join us next on KMOX.
This is Jordan Walker. Celebrate Black Heritage Day, presented by your quality Ford dealers on Sunday, June 28th at Busch Stadium. This special culture and community event honors the impact, history, and legacy of the Black community in baseball and beyond. With a special themed ticket, you'll receive an exclusive Cardinals jersey designed by Corey Rogers. And don't miss a special heritage celebration in Budweiser Terrace before the game. Details and tickets at cardinals.com/theme.
The weekend starts at Busch Stadium. Grab your crew and kick it off at Friday Night Live. Every Friday night home game, Budweiser Terrace turns into the hottest happy hour in the Louvre. With $5 beers, $5 hot dogs, $7 margaritas, live music, and more all game long. Meet up with friends, soak in the energy, and keep the night going with baseball under the lights. Good vibes, great deals, your new Friday tradition. Get tickets now at cardinals.com.
Transfer fees may apply. No Albert subscription required. Albert is not a bank. Albert Instant Loans are issued by FinWise Bank, member FDIC. Not an actual client. Terms apply.
Kylie, what's wrong? I just got hit with a car repair bill. I'm behind on rent, and I feel like I can never save any money.
Have you tried the Albert app? Albert is your financial assistant, helping you find ways to save and create custom budgets to actually grow your money. Plus, Plus, you can get up to $10,000 for big expenses or advance up to $1,000 fast when you need cash right away.
Albert can get me up to $10,000?
Exactly. Albert spots you in a pinch and helps you grow your money in the long run.
I'm downloading Albert right now.
Download the Albert app and use promo code BOOST to borrow up to $10,000 for whatever you need. The Albert app helps you budget better and save more money so you reach your financial goals faster. Download the Albert app right now and use promo code BOOST to borrow up to $10,000. Use code BOOST to borrow up to $10,000.
If your air conditioning system is just not cooling, you feel it's not cooling, go outside and also make sure the outside unit is running along with the inside unit. Those little black lines that are coming out of your house, see if they have ice on them. If you notice ice, check your filter. Make sure if your filter is dirty, it will make your system ice. Another thing to check is your breaker on the inside. If cleaning your filter and cleaning the outside and you check in your breaker still does not work, call me. You'll need me to come out. Sorry. But good thing, there's a really easy number in Missouri and Illinois. It is area code 314-293-2600. Again, Missouri and Illinois, 314-293-2600, or on the internet, bartinman.com. That's Bart with a B, Inman with an I.com. God bless.
The trusted voice of St. Louis. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
It is 11 o'clock, and right now we've got sunshine, 76 degrees in downtown St. Louis. I'm Debbie Monterey. A federal judge has issued an injunction blocking the anti-weaponization fund that President Trump wanted to create last month. ABC News national correspondent Stephen Portnoy has the latest.
Judge Leonie Brinkema said she issued the injunction in part because the Justice Department's lawyer couldn't say why the acting attorney general hasn't rescinded his order establishing the fund. Todd Blanche has insisted the fund isn't moving forward. But the judge pointed to President Trump's own recent comments supporting payments to alleged victims of government weaponization as evidence the fund might one day, in her words, rear its head.
A bike shop in Tower Grove South experiences its third break-in in 3 weeks. A&M Cyclery broken into Wednesday morning. A man stole 2 bikes, a kid's bike and another electric bike, attempted to steal a third. This is less than a week after the last break-in, June 5th, where 3 bikes were stolen. And the first break-in was May 24th, where 2 electric bikes were stolen. 2 of them have been recovered. Police set up one of their mobile cameras directly across the street from the shop. Why is the Missouri Farm Bureau weighing in on a court fight in Brentwood? They filed an amicus brief in the appeal of a case where Brentwood won the right to use eminent domain to take the properties of 4 businesses and transfer it to a new commercial development. Farm Bureau President Garrett Hawkins.
Everyone should take an interest, because if it can happen to these business owners in Brentwood, egregious uses of eminent domain could happen to anyone.
Hawkins says they'll defend private property rights, whether rural or urban, and believes the law is clear that eminent domain should not be used for private redevelopment projects. Oral arguments in the appeal of this case are expected in September. A Florida man is suing several law enforcement departments for wrongful arrest that was prompted by an investigator submitting surveillance photos to an AI tool and coming back with a 93% match to Robert Dillon. He was arrested even though he was hundreds of miles away at the time of the crime.
Dillon fought his arrest and charges were dropped last year, but it took nearly a year to wipe it from his record. Now, with the help of the ACLU, he has filed a wrongful arrest lawsuit. The Pinellas County Sheriff's Office says independent investigations and probable cause are always required for an arrest, and facial recognition results are never matches. Dillon is seeking monetary damages and hopes to make sure this doesn't happen to anyone else.
The 6th annual Juneteenth celebration kicks off tomorrow morning in the Del Mar Loop with the 5K Race for Reconciliation, and then
entertainment, art, culture, and community.
Event manager Celeste Grayer says you can learn about Juneteenth, African culture, learn to drum and dance. There's music, food, and vendors all day, a car show, and it all wraps up at 8 with the Red and Black Brass Band. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk.
Cooler and less humid this afternoon. It'll be sunny with a high of 85. Then we turn partly cloudy with a low of 68 tonight. More humid with an afternoon thunderstorm tomorrow. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Heather Zaire on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It is sunny, 77 degrees right now. The weather sponsored by SNL Coin. I'm Debbie Monterey, KMOX News.
SNL Coin. We buy gold and silver coins, silver and gold jewelry. Also buying gold filled and silver plates. Before you sell, call SNL 314-544-3600. 314-544-3600. SNL Coin.
Chris Ronchi, Amy Mark scores because life is too short for boring radio. 104.1 FM KMOX.
Michael Kelly, Amy Mark scores with you. Final hour of the Chris and Amy show. And I love this lead. I love this, that in 1999, Paul Brown, who was at ABC 30 St. Louis, decided to set out to solve one of St. Louis's greatest mysteries. What happened to the legendary Axel from the great Ferris wheel, the 1904 World's Fair, and he went out to search for it. They looked for it, and they didn't find it. But they made an exhibit out of it, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Because I thought, is the exhibit just an empty box? What is it? How do you, if you didn't find it? But Paul Brown, and I got to say, alum of KMOX as well.
Long
joins
time
us.
ago in a galaxy far, far away.
That's right. We were just reminiscing all sorts of classic KMOX stories, but Paul Brown joins us in Studio B.
Thank you, Amy. Great to be here with you guys.
So tell us a little bit about your search, and then how is it an exhibit if you didn't find it?
Okay, so it's always been one of those great stories of St. Louis. What happened to the Ferris wheel axle? We know that the Ferris wheel was dynamited at the end of the World's Fair because they couldn't sell it. It was such a monstrosity. They tried to sell it to Coney Island. They tried to get the Highlands amusement park in St. Louis to take it. Nobody wanted it. So in 2006, they set 100 sticks of dynamite to the base and blew it up. 1906. What did I say? 2006.
Yeah.
Only 100 years off. So in 1906, they dynamited it. It fell over. The axle was embedded into the ground, one end of it. They cut up everything else. They sold it all for scrap. And so the legend is that the axle was too big to move, or it was too it would have cost too much to scrap it to get it out, so they just buried it. So in 1999, I had a news director at Channel 30 after I left KMOX, which was a big mistake. But I went to ABC 30 News, and we had a news director who came in. He wasn't from St. Louis, and he said, okay, we were getting killed in the ratings, kind of a startup news operation. And so we were trying to do off-the-walls kind of stories. And he said, okay, what are the great mysteries of St. Louis? And, we talked about the old Rock House, different things, So, but then obviously it came up, the Ferris wheel. What happened to the Ferris wheel axle? So he said, okay, let's go for it. So he put me on that, and it was cool because I got to spend a couple of months really researching the World's Fair, going out. And this is pre-Google days, the internet was really in its infancy, so we didn't have the kind of search capability. So I had to just pick up phones and talk to people, and we went all over the place trying to find evidence, trying to meet people that would have known what would have happened to the axle from the World's Fair. So we ended up spending a lot of time researching it, and then I did several stories about the history of the fair and the Ferris wheel, and then it culminated when we thought we had spotted something. We thought we might have found the buried, lost axle. And so we dug up a street.
Wait, so where was this? Which street?
It's Alexander Avenue, right off of Skinker Boulevard.
Okay.
Right on the edge of Forest Park. And it was right where Whiteout and Alexander meet.
Mm-hmm.
Now, right at that location, in 1904, of course, we know that the Olympic Games were held in St. Louis. The 1904 Olympics were held there. And at that spot, which was right across a walkway from where the Ferris wheel would have been, there was a lake there, which was used for the swimming and diving competition from the 1904 Olympic Games. So our theory is that this would have been a perfect spot. Once they got all the other pieces of metal free from the axle, get it over there, move it, and roll it into the edge of this lake, and then they had to fill in the lake. Mm-hmm. So we thought, well, this might be the spot. So we put infrared cameras on a helicopter. There was a company in town that, they were specialized in infrared and ground penetrating radar. Well, the first thing we did was put infrared camera on a helicopter, flew around Forest Park. It was in the fall. So we went on days when it would be very warm in the day and cooled off considerably at night. So the theory is that if there was something warm, metal buried under the ground, that it would show up on infrared radar. So we flew around, we all over Forest Park for several nights. We did this in the helicopter. I know it drove people crazy. And we thought we saw something. And then we sent in ground penetrating radar, another company that had a ground penetrating radar system. And they thought they saw something. It was right under the street, Alexander Avenue. And we worked extensively with the Missouri Historical Society. This is something they've been looking for since the 1930s. And in the 1940s, when they were trying to find scrap metal to use for munitions for World War II. There have been many other searches before. So we thought we had the technology, and we thought we had it pinpointed. And so we went live during a 10 o'clock newscast, put a backhoe out, and dug up the street live on ABC 30. I have to say it was the highest rated newscast ever in the history of the station.
That's awesome.
And it was the talk of the town. And we dug and dug and dug, and we finally uncovered or got down to what we thought it was. We'd worked with MSD, everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, we were, could this be an old something that was there? The city was involved. The Historical Society was involved. Everybody was involved. And nobody knew. There was nothing that showed up on any of the maps or graphs or anything. Well, we dug and dug and dug live on TV, and we finally found something.
Well,
it was an abandoned lead sewer line that would have been approximately the same size and length of the axle from the World's Fair. So, so anyway, I was Geraldo Rivera and Al Capone's vault live on TV.
Wow. So how does this become an exhibit?
Well, part of the Missouri History Museum, which was built with proceeds from the World's Fair. World's Fair, the 1904 World's Fair was one of the few World's Fairs that actually turned a profit. Where the Missouri History Museum sits, right on Lindell Boulevard, that was approximately the main entrance of the World's Fair, was right there. Okay. So with the proceeds from the fair, they actually built this, intending to be a permanent housing area museum for artifacts from the World's Fair. And so there's always been an exhibit from the World's Fair there. It's always popular. It's been there ever since I was a kid. And if you look on the markings outside, you can see the Louisiana Purchase Exposition Company, which was the name of the organization that put the World's Fair on. And so they've always had an exhibition there, but now they've added a new part of that wing of the museum dedicated solely to the Great Ferris Wheel. And so Amanda Clark, I think is her name. I got to look that up real quick. Amanda Clark has done a lot of research for the Missouri Historical Society, and she heard that I had done this search in 1999, and so she said, okay, contacted me, and I had some artifacts, some mementos from the search, and so I donated to those. And so part of the story of the Ferris wheel was the legacy of the lost axle.
That's cool.
That is amazing. So, in sports, you have a coach who at a critical moment of the championship game makes a gutsy call. And whether or not it is the greatest call in history or the stupidest call in history hinges completely on whether or not it works, right? If the play works, the team scores, the coach is a genius. If the play doesn't work, right, and it's botched, this is the dumbest coach in history. You have the most watched news program, live TV, on ABC looking for the Ferris wheel. Everybody's invested. When you didn't find it, did the people turn on you and say, hey, you ruined one of our streets?
I'm almost glad that we didn't find it because the legacy was able to live on. The mystery. Sure, had we found it, had it been the axle, it would have been great. But I thought, it's kind of cool that it wasn't there. It hadn't been found, that the mystery lived on, that the legacy is still alive. And there's just so many things about the 1904 World's Fair. That's why people are still so fascinated with it in St. Louis. It takes us all back to a time when St. Louis was really one of the great centers of the world. And I'm not exaggerating.
Yeah.
St. Louis at the time was the fourth largest city in the United States. There were tens of millions of people that came to St. Louis for the World's Fair. They came from all over the world. And World's Fairs were a much bigger deal back then because transportation wasn't the same. The world wasn't as small, communications, et cetera, et cetera. So to have everyone come to St. Louis to find out what was the latest thing to come down the pike, that's another expression that came from the World's Fair, because of the pike, the amusement, what was the latest thing to come down the pike? So
that's good to know. I never know if it's come down the pike or come down the pipe.
It come down the pike. Yes, the pike was the amusement area at the World's Fair.
That's so interesting.
Yeah.
I
And it
didn't know this from that.
Oh, yeah. The pike was incredible. The whole World's Fair was just absolutely an incredible thing. And so the fact that we didn't find it, I had some satisfaction that we gave it our best shot. And then I moved on to, the murder du jour stories that we did every other night on the news.
So you obviously spent a lot of time. You've had time to contemplate this. I got a two-parter for you. Number one, do you think this axle exists somewhere? And do you still think it's in the park or somewhere here in St. Louis?
Okay, so here's the deal. Amanda Clark and the Missouri Historical Society, like I said, after our search, it kind of, everybody lost interest again. We spent hours and hours and hours looking through microfilm at the Historical Society. There's, like I said, there's no Google, there's no AI.
Right.
We were looking for newspaper clippings. Well, at some point in the past couple of years, really, and I know that the folks there have continued to look. It's always something that's on the back burner about the Ferris wheel axle. And so somebody came across one paragraph in one of the newspapers. I don't know even which newspaper it was. I'm not sure they know which newspaper it was. But it mentioned how the last part of the Ferris wheel had to be pulled out of its resting spot with a large derrick, and that the remaining pieces of scrap metal that were attached to the hubs of the axle had to be dynamited away again in order for it to be moved to get it out.
Uh-huh.
So they said that it was loaded onto a rail car. Then there was no substantiation of that. There's no photographs. There's no evidence other than what this paragraph was in this newspaper account. And we don't know if this was a reporter being told secondhand information or whether they actually witnessed it themselves. We just don't know. Then they had also, the Historical Society also had received letters from people. And this is not just a St. Louis thing. Chicago was also very involved in this. And there's a lot of documentaries all over the internet about it too. So they had gotten some letters from some people who said that their parents, grandparents worked at the Chicago House Wrecking Company, which was the name of the company that was contracted by the World's Fair to disassemble the fair and put Forest Park back into the condition it was before the World's Fair. And they had people who said it was their family legacy or kind of a family story that the axle did indeed was shipped back to Chicago and sat in a warehouse for many decades before the technology finally got to the point where they could had the materials, the torches and such, to cut it up and turn it into scrap.
Does does that make sense?
It makes sense.
Transporting something of that size, and then also you said they were looking for it by the 1930s.
Yeah.
So in 25 years, something, because I imagine that was quite an effort to transfer
it would
it
have
to
been
Chicago.
huge. It took 2 full-size rail cars to, freight cars, to flatbed freight cars just to move it.
And we would have forgotten that in 25 years?
Yeah, there was no documentation. There's no documentation from the World's Fair people, which, incredible record keeping was done. And but there's also no mention that it was buried either. The legacy that it was buried came from some people who supposedly worked on the demolition. And when they were looking for scrap metal in the 1940s, it was one of the workers who said that he had worked on demolishing the Ferris wheel, and he was the one who said it's buried in Forest Park. So again, there is some testimony, there is some evidence that it was indeed moved and eventually cut up for scrap in Chicago. I choose not to believe it.
Yeah.
I choose to believe that the mystery is still alive. I choose to believe that the holy grail of World's Fair, of the World's Fair, is still somehow still here in St. Louis, still bringing us back to that time when St. Louis was the center of the world.
Some modern day Indiana Jones here.
I love it.
Still chasing
I
it
think it feels
down.
like dinosaur bones. Like maybe we should find it. That should be our next project after Chris and Amy Day at the ballpark. We'll try to find this. That's incredible. So
the axle was really huge. It was 70 tons. It was 70 tons. It was 45 feet long. It was the largest piece of steel ever forged at the time. It was created by the Bethlehem Steel Company. It was originally, that the Ferris wheel, and of course we played Second City to the Second City again. It was first used at the World's Fair in Chicago in 1893, the Columbia Exposition. David Rowland Francis was the mayor of St. Louis, and he tried really hard to get that in St. Louis, and he failed. So he spent the next 10 years trying to get the World's Fair back to St. Louis, and obviously he succeeded. But they couldn't come up with anything bigger. The Ferris wheel was built for the 1893 World's Fair in Chicago to rival the Eiffel Tower, which had been the centerpiece of the Paris World's Fair. It was built by a man named George Washington Gale Ferris, and it was his only wheel that he ever built. They called it an observation wheel. It was never called the Ferris wheel. He spent his life savings creating this monstrosity. And he actually died at a very young age, partially heartbroken because his Ferris wheel had cost him so much money, and he died in poverty. But George Washington Gale Ferris never knew that every other wheel after that would be called the Ferris wheel. It was moved to St. Louis for the World's Fair in 1904, and so it had been moved. They knew they could move it, but it would have been a Herculean task to move this 70-ton axle. And what was it worth in scrap? They didn't have the torches to cut it up. They didn't have any way to move it. They had to move it in whole if they did indeed move it.
good stuff. Paul Brown, the modern-day Indiana Jones here. I
or
love
Geraldo
it.
Rivera. Which...
Well, it depends
we were
on
being
how
kind.
you look at it, yeah. Former reporter with ABC 30 and, of course, KMOX alum. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah. Well, hey, I got to put in a plug. Nowadays, I'm a classic rock DJ.
I love
on
it.
93.1 KBDZ. So I'm on every Saturday, so tune that in.
Nice.
I'm still telling stories, but now I tell stories about rock stars.
Love it. Fun
Beautiful.
stuff. It's the Chris and Amy Show on KMOX.
This is the story of the one who keeps multiple buildings running smoothly day after day. Plumbing that flows, HVAC that hums, cleaning supplies that keep surfaces sparkling. That's why she counts on Grainger. With easy reordering online and 24/7 support, Grainger helps her keep the products she needs on hand. So shelves stay stocked and buildings stay ready. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
City SC's Summer of Soccer, presented by Purina, kicks off on Friday, June 12th with the biggest soccer celebration in St. Louis. This festival-style watch party on Lou Fuse Plaza at Energizer Park is free for all and open to the public. Show up at 5 p.m. for live music, local food and drink, giveaways, special appearances, and a live viewing of USA vs. Paraguay on 5 massive screens. Learn more at summerofsoccerstl.com.
I'm Bob Burke, founder and chairman of Burke America Parts Group, a family of brands that includes RepairClinic.com, an appliance and HVAC parts solution company that's grown into an international brand. Before AmericanEagle.com, we partially launched a new technology platform developed by another firm. American Eagle helped take our technology to a whole new level with digital marketing, software development, and business insights into our key markets, appliances, HVAC, and outdoor power equipment, and did so both on time and on budget. AmericanEagle.com has the resources, experience, and talent needed to produce solutions. Our new technology platform, developed by AmericanEagle.com, has produced tremendous results with higher traffic, conversion, engagement, and online revenue. If you have any home repairs you need to take care of, check us out at RepairClinic.com. If you need a world-class website or technology project, then I would highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Call AmericanEagle.com at 773-NETWORK. That's AmericanEagle.com, 773-NETWORK.
Hi, St. Louis. This is Ben Barnett. I'm a board-certified master arborist, and I've been caring for St. Louis trees for over 25 years. Today, I'm going to help you choose a tree care contractor. Here's how it's done, so pay close attention. First, call everyone you know who has ever done any type of outdoor work, including that cousin that used to sleep on your couch. Leave them all messages and wait around to see if they call back. Here's a hint, they won't. Now, post to all your social media that you are looking for recommendations for a good tree service. Now beware, because there will be hundreds of different recommendations. So you need to carefully go through each one, checking that they have the proper insurance, background checks, and even the slightest idea of what they're doing. Schedule a bunch of appointments, and when nobody shows up, get really frustrated and put the whole project off for another year. Or you could just call Timberline Professional Tree Care, 636-479-7475, or visit us online at stltreecare.com.
After a disaster, emotional recovery takes time. Show Me Hope Missouri is here for you with free confidential support. Counselors help with stress, coping skills, and connect to resources. If the St. Louis tornado impacted you, visit moshowmehope.org from Missouri Department of Mental Health.
The Chris and Amy Show on 104.1 FM KMOX, sponsored by Community America Credit Union in Des Peres. Invested in STL. Invested in you. Now open.
Welcome back to the Chris and Amy Show. Amy, I have to tell you, when you said that this may be the next thing you're going to tackle, looking for this axle,
Yeah.
I have visuals of you and Chris in Forest Park with those little like wand things, just wandering
metal
around
detectors.
looking for metal.
I think I think this could be our new passion. I mean, what if we found it?
Well, that it would make you legendary.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway,
I don't think it exists. I think it's gone.
They just chopped it up.
Yeah, I mean, the technology is such that they would be able to like laser through the ground and know where it's at now, right?
I don't know. I mean, it sounds like, yeah, I don't know. Like you do a giant ultrasound of
Yeah.
Forest Park.
Who knows what you would find under Forest Park though if you're going around and
I think
looking
there's some
with
sewers down there.
Like there's a river down there.
Oh yeah, that's what I mean.
Can you believe that? There's a river that flows under that park.
Yeah.
That's what I
Under?
want to go see.
Yeah.
Wait,
Yeah.
what? Because I
The
know of
River
the
Des
Taylor
Peres-
Kindle River, which is the
No,
river.
The River Des Peres, they had to put underground, and it's like in
Really?
a tunnel, like in a like an MSD style tunnel.
Am I
That's
the-
what I want to go see.
Am I the only person in St. Louis who didn't know this?
I didn't know about it until recently. I saw a YouTube video of there's a part of Forest Park where there's like a hatch in the ground, and I don't know who has access to that, MSD or what. But they opened it up,
And there's a
you walk
river down there.
There's like a river,
Flowing river.
I bet you know people. You could get somebody to give you a tour of
All
the
right.
river.
Well, could you go? All right, I'll get you a tour if you can get somebody to give some tickets away.
Yeah.
Oh, I can do that.
Can you give some tickets away?
If you are a fan of the Doobie Brothers and you would love to see the Doobie Brothers at Hollywood Casino Amphitheater with Santana, by the way, on June 20th, it's coming up. You need to be the 7th caller right now to the contest line, 314-955-1120, 955-1120. Be the 7th caller to the contest line, and you could be on your way to seeing Santana and the Doobie Brothers at Hollywood Casino Amphitheater on June 20th. So good luck. Now, most people are going to lose.
Yeah.
Pretty much everybody's going to lose.
That's what we call life.
Yeah, except for one lucky caller. So everyone else, you need to buy your tickets to Chris and Amy Day at the Ballpark. June 17th, $15 tickets, basically free.
Yep.
I mean, in this economy, $15 tickets gets you into the special section, the Chris and Amy Show section, right field. We're going to come visit with you guys really close to Tarps Off. I've not been to Tarps Off yet. I haven't seen it, so I need to go visit the Tarps Off section. I've heard it's a ton of fun. But also we will be bartending at the Mississippi Yacht Club at the pop-up bar, which used to be the Where Did You Go to High School bar. Now it's the Mississippi Yacht Club. So we'll be bartending there until 1:45. June 17th, be there or be squared. That's what the kids say.
Totally.
Back 100 years ago.
They say cap, too.
That's Michael Kelly. I'm Amy Mark Scores. You're never going to believe it, but the Six Flags beat is next. We have more Six Flags news.
Hey,
Michael
now.
Kelly. It's the Chris and Amy Show on KMOX.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. My best advice to you when hiring a lawyer for your injury case is simple. If you know court personnel, ask them who they'd hire. They know. If you know an insurance adjuster, ask them. They know. And then ask them about us. Ask them about Morgan & Morgan. They know. I look forward to talking to you soon. There's only one Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm for the people. Injured? Dial pound law.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. Past results afford no guarantee of future results. Every case is different and must be judged on its own merits.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance engineer at a beverage manufacturing plant, he starts his day knowing every line is ready to run because Grainger delivers the industrial-grade products he needs to keep mixers, conveyors, and packaging equipment moving. With Grainger's vast selection of bearings, belts, and motors, he keeps operations running smoothly, so nothing grinds to a halt. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Wait, everything on this IHOP value menu is just $6?
I told you it was amazing. A huge plate of pancakes, bacon, and eggs is just $6.
Wow.
There's also French toast, a ham and cheese omelet, and oh, they got a BLT and fries now.
Okay, we're coming here every day.
You don't have to tell me twice.
Feast for just $6 with the IHOP value menu. $7 in some locations, available every day for a limited time at participating restaurants in the U.S. Hours may vary. No substitutions. Not valid with other discounts or promotions. Prices may vary.
The KMOX Newsroom has been honored with the prestigious Regional Edward R. Murrow Award in 2 categories: Breaking News.
We have a tornado warning, which has just been issued.
And Overall Excellence.
I'm not going to call for County Executive Page to resign.
The KMOX Newsroom continues to be the vital source of information for our region, dedicated to journalistic excellence for St. Louis. We are the voice of St. Louis. 104.1 FM, KMOX.
The cookie cutter approach works well if you're making cookies, but not so well when you're trying to plan for retirement. If you want a customized income strategy, call Steve All and his team at the All Financial Group today. 636-230-8824. Or go to yourmoneymattersstl.com.
Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IBW, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Steve All, NPN number 153-07419.
Now, KMOX weather from the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk.
It's 78 degrees in downtown St. Louis. The sky is a beautiful blue. It will be sunny all afternoon, a high of only 84. The weekend looks pretty nice. A chance of thunderstorms tomorrow and a high of only 76 on Sunday. Weather's been sponsored by the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. Call Overhead Door Company of St. Louis for their 26-point tune-up. It's one price for up to 3 garage doors and openers. Always look for the genuine, the original, the red ribbon of Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. Schedule online at overheaddoorsstlouis.com.
I know that hiring can be challenging. You need someone to match your role perfectly. Well, now you can meet them fast on ZipRecruiter.
Build your team, build it sooner. Meet your match on ZipRecruiter.
Just head to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try it for free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Meet your match on ZipRecruiter. Try it free.
My doctor told me my cholesterol is borderline, so I took control with Garlic Healthy Cholesterol Formula. Garlic helps maintain healthy cholesterol safely and naturally. It's odor and taste-free, and Garlic is a world leader in garlic potency. I'm taking charge of my cholesterol with Garlic Healthy Cholesterol Formula, cholesterol's natural enemy.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. The term natural references only the garlic in the product. Use as directed.
Looking for something new? Lombardo Homes is excited to introduce 2 brand new opportunities in St. Charles County. Discover Crooked Creek at Cottleville Trails, featuring stylish new townhomes from the high 300s and access to incredible amenities that make Cottleville Trails one of the area's most sought-after communities. Or find the space you've been dreaming of at South Point Estates, where expansive 3+ acre home sites and top-rated Wentzville schools create the perfect setting for your custom dream home. Visit LombardoHomes.com to learn more about these exciting new communities.
Get inside your Redbirds in the 2026 season every Tuesday at noon. It's All Access with Cardinals manager Ollie Marmol on your voice of the Cardinals, KMOX.
Congratulations to Jana from Alton. She is going to see Santana and the Doobie Brothers at the Hollywood Casino Amphitheater on June 20th. So have a good time with that. Hey, Michael, we were talking about the Ferris wheel and how we need to find the axle.
Mm-hmm.
We have a 314 texts in, says, in middle school, I attended a field trip at the Missouri History Museum, which was around 1993. We were told the center axle from the Ferris wheel was buried under the Amoco station located on Skinker, you know, the large Amoco sign. I forgot. I think I had heard that. No, like, I wasn't told that as a kid, but, you know, we're running around Forest Park, and I think it was one of my running buddies said that he had heard it was under the Amoco station.
That would be an interesting place for it to be.
I know.
I don't know how people would feel about them digging up the Amoco sign to see if there was an axle
I have to
underneath
be
it.
completely honest. I love that Amoco sign. That
Really?
Amoco sign, yes, it's not just nostalgia. It means home. I used to live like right there, like on top of the Amoco sign. If I looked out my kitchen and family room windows, I felt like I could reach out and touch the Amoco sign. I just loved it. I don't know why I love it so much.
Am I making this up, which I typically do most of the time? Is that the highest point in St. Louis
City?
Yeah.
I think so, because that's why it's High Point, you know, the High Point Theater, the High Point
that's
Drive-In.
the high point of St. Louis. That
I do
makes
too.
sense.
Because when I lived there, it was technically Dogtown where I lived. And it was a shoebox apartment, but I wish I could have stayed there. I saw the Amoco sign from my family room and kitchen, which are basically the same room. And then from my bedroom, because it is High Point, I could see the arch.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. It was really, really fun to look out your room, your bedroom window, and see the arch.
From a regional standpoint, there probably is no better location in St. Louis, because if you're at that Amoco sign, you can get downtown in 5 minutes. You can get Chesterfield in 10, 15 minutes.
You fall out of your window
You can
onto
go
the
North
highway,
County.
which is
Yeah.
awesome.
You're just right in the middle of everything.
Oh my gosh. It was so great. I do. And people are like, why did you move? I don't know. I don't know why I moved. I think I thought I wanted more space. It was 400 square feet. It was small, but I would make that work again. I
Less
loved it.
space is the way to go.
Way to
Less
go.
space, more luxury. That's my comment. That's my theme. Like, I could live in 400 square feet, but I
Yeah.
want to have a nice bathroom. I want to have nice stuff.
You know how nature abhors a vacuum? That'll say nature
Nature
abhors,
what's a vacuum?
Abhors
Oh,
a
okay.
vacuum. So, like, if you have more space, you will fill the space with stuff. Yeah. But if you have less space, I'll tell you what, when I moved out of my 300 square foot studio, that was pretty darn easy. You're not going to fit a lot in a 300 square
Literally,
foot.
you lived in 300 square feet?
Yeah, remember I slept next to my refrigerator?
That's like Manhattan type
Yeah.
stories. Like,
Yeah.
that we have apartments that are only 300 square feet in St. Louis.
We sure do, buddy. I actually, I will say this. The difference between I said it was 400 in Dogtown. It was probably 450. The difference between a 450-foot apartment and a 300 square foot apartment is massive.
Really?
2 different experiences.
Yeah.
I had a
You can do a
family room
cartwheel.
and a bedroom and a kitchen in my 450-foot apartment. In my 300-square-foot apartment, I slept next to the refrigerator. My bed, if you opened the refrigerator door, you could sit on my bed.
Wow, nice. Grab a drink while you were laying in bed.
Yeah, it was so small. I couldn't fit a full-size couch. I had a little, sofa. Hey, we have certain passions on this show, Michael.
Right.
One of them is eggs. We have an egg beat, but the other one is Six Flags.
Oh,
We
yeah.
like all the Six Flags
Is
news.
it still Six Flags?
It is. This is the last year of Six
But
Flags.
don't you think it's going to kind of be like Highway 40? It's always going to be Six Flags. Like, they could
Yeah.
change it to Disney World.
Yeah.
And people are still going to be like, let's go out to Six Flags.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
Riverport.
Mm-hmm.
So it's last year of Six Flags. And by golly, another Six Flags story this morning on Total Information AM.
A dramatic rescue at Six Flags last night. A family was stuck on Sky Screamer. That's that swing ride. It's one of the tallest rides in the park. The 4 people were stranded from 5:30 until just after 8 p.m. KMOX's Michael Calhoun caught up with Eureka Fire Chief Scott Barthelmess right after the rescue was completed.
We were notified by Six Flags of 4 guests that were stuck on the top of the ride. The park typically is able to, they have countermeasures and the like in place. They had tried those. They then initiated their emergency response, which is through us and our mutual aid partners. We responded and have subsequently brought all 4 of the guests safely down to the ground. All first responders are also down on the ground now as well.
What kind of because I know Six Flags has a crane on site, but it sounded like that ropes were what saved the day here.
So actually the crane was used. Our secondary plan was we always want to have plan A, plan B, plan C. We actually set up the rope system just as well because we have that weather coming in. So if there was anything that did not work or there was an issue with the crane or we couldn't reach with the crane, we were already working on a second plan. But they were brought to the ground by the crane that Six Flags contracts with.
Oh.
Okay, so a lot to take in there. A family of 4 stuck on the screaming swinger or Sky Screamer. And, with the big swings that just you go around and around in a circle. And to be stuck up there from 5:30 to after 8 p.m. is
and
a
there were
long
storms
time.
coming in.
That's the kicker. That's the part I forgot about because we have those severe thunderstorms
Right.
last night. So imagine you're on one of the tallest rides in Six Flags, made completely of metal. You're being rescued by another tall metal thing with
Right.
a crane, and they're just pulling you down. That's a bit of a harrowing experience.
You afraid of heights?
No, I don't think I can classify as being afraid of heights. I'm not a thrill seeker. So heights still take my breath away. And
Okay.
I've been in those buildings in Chicago or New York where it's 100 stories and they have the glass floor.
Sure.
I'll walk out on the glass floor. And
Okay.
it does. I mean, naturally, we're wired to be afraid of that because we should be.
Right.
So definitely, I'm not so cavalier. Like, look at me. I'm so brave. I don't even care. I'll do it, but it's scary. And the same way that I'll climb mountains. And there are I've been in some situations, and there's a difference where you could fall off the mountain. And I use that word because there's a difference between falling down a mountain and falling off a mountain.
Okay.
And so if I said I'm afraid of heights, people will say, well, then how were you able to scramble on some of those, mountaintops? I'm like, well, because I'm scared to a point and I'll do it to a point. But I turn around when I get to that moment where I realize I'm getting too scared because that's a really bad place to be.
I'm not necessarily afraid of heights.
Yeah.
But say we were in this 126-foot tall thing
Mm-hmm.
and the transferring from that bucket chair, I guess those people were likely
Yes.
sitting into the crane, that part would have probably messed with my head. Now, growing up, I was a stagehand, worked on stages and I did a tightrope across Busch Stadium and I'd been in lots of places of
Really?
heights. That didn't scare me
Yeah.
that much. Now, there were also riggers is what we called them, the guys
Mm-hmm.
who would hang the lighting, or even some of my ironworker buddies These guys are just they're unhuman.
Yeah.
And because they would be on a beam and they'll walk across a beam. I couldn't do that.
It's disorienting. Like
Yes.
my world starts to spin a little bit. It's almost less of feeling scared and more of feeling disoriented.
Yeah. In Las Vegas, they have the sphere, or not the sphere, the Space Needle, their version of what the Space Needle is. On top of it, they have a boomerang ride where you get in a harness and it buckles you down, and then it shoots up the antenna.
Yes.
And you feel like you're going off of this building, and you're 1,000 feet in the air. Scary as can be. I think I might have wet my pants a little doing that one.
I'm thinking of the heights thing and how I find it disorienting. You're a skier. You've skied, right?
Love it.
To me, the chairs, the ski lift chairs,
right,
are less scary than the gondolas. For some reason, I like open heights more than I like closed heights. Isn't that weird? Because some of the ski lift chairs, you are easily 40 feet off the ground.
Yeah, you could jump off it.
You could jump off. Yeah, I'd fall off. And it's wild that feels less scary to me than a gondola. I think it's a control thing, right? You know that when the gondola drops, you're just in this little bubble. And I will say when we were in Switzerland, there were a couple of funiculars that would go up.
All these words I have to look up after the show.
I know.
Funicular.
The funicular is more like there's only one.
It's on a track, right?
Well, no. I mean, there can be, but the funicular is like a trolley, and it's hanging like a gondola.
Yeah.
But there's only one, so it goes up and down.
Yeah, right.
And it might be technically the track. I thought they called this a funicular because the funiculars are on tracks too, but this one was hanging, and so it's like one big gondola. But the mountain that it went up was so steep that when you are going down, you don't see any ground beneath you, right? Like it just looks like you're almost flying towards the city way in front of you.
Speaking of snow skiing, every time I go snow skiing, and I can ski fine.
Yeah.
I like it. It's enjoyable. But, not living on a mountain, living here in the flat Midwest, every time I go there, you take that ride up to the top, and regardless, every time I look down that mountain and I think, this is the craziest doggone thing you've ever done. I mean, because it really is scary. Now, there is something, because I've never been to the mountains in the summertime, that I want to do, and I bet you've done it. Have you done these gravity
the Alpine slides?
Slides that they have?
So I have not. My parents did it years ago, but I heard they're no joke.
Like real.
The real Alpine slides. You move and you
I want to do it.
Have you seen where they're going down the Alpine slide and a bear will be on
No,
the
come
track?
on.
I promise.
Really?
I promise. And the people are, pulling the brakes, and there are these bears trying to cross the Alpine slide.
I want to go do an Alpine slide. Let me know the next time you're going to be out in the mountains, and I'll come out there for 24 hours. And
I know. I'm currently
we'll ride it together.
Currently planning my next mountain trip. But when was the last time you were up in the Arch?
Like a kid, 4th, 5th grade. I have no desire to go back.
Is it more of the less of the heights and more of the closed in elevator?
It's been there, done that. I mean, it's a great experience, and I'm glad I did it. It wasn't one of those experiences that I was like, I got to do this again.
Yeah.
I mean, I look at this place all the time, so I kind of know what it is.
Matt, have you been up in the Arch recently?
Oh, not recently. Maybe in high school. Seems recent, I know, but probably 10 years ago.
Would you guys do it like a date night?
I would take somebody who's never been before. There'd be no point in. I feel bad saying it. If you've both already have been, why would you go? I'm sorry. Yeah. It's something cool to show somebody.
Oh my gosh.
It's something cool to show somebody who's not from St. Louis to go up to the top. I've done it, a few times already.
Yeah, there are other things to do on a date, over and over and over again that it's different than the Arch. Been there, done that. The Arch thing.
Although, to be honest, this would be a great bit. The two of you need a lady friend and go on a date and propose the Arch. But then the next date, hey, you want to go up in the Arch again? And see how many times you could take her up in the Arch before she broke up with you.
I think
that'd be kind of funny.
Again?
This weird guy keeps wanting to go up in the Arch.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's just an idea.
All right, Matt. I think I signed you up for that one.
All right, I'm down.
I get accused of being Peter Pan when it comes to dating, so they would be like, "What do you mean you're going to take me out again?
Again?
I'm doing the same place,
The same view.
same view."
And while we go up, I say "we" the whole time. I say hands up, arms up, let's go.
That's Matt Pajeski, Michael Kelly. A few more minutes on the Chris and Amy Show on KMOX.
Broadcasting from the Scott Credit Union Studio, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
You know that Big Bargain detergent jug is 80% water, right? It doesn't clean as well.
80% water? I thought I was getting a better deal because it's so big.
If you want a better clean, Tide Pods are only 12% water. The rest is pure, concentrated cleaning ingredients.
Oh, let me make an announcement.
Attention shoppers, if you want a real deal, try Tide Pods.
Stop paying for watered-down detergents. Pay for clean. If it's gotta be clean, it's gotta be Tide Pods. Water content based on the leading bargain liquid detergent.
Too many tools, too much stress, and way too many bills.
Odoo replaces it all. One connected platform for every part of your business, so you can work faster, smarter, and for less. Odoo, the only software you'll ever need. Try it free today at odoo.com. That's ODOO.com.
Man, whenever I use a sportsbook, I feel like I'm just getting robbed blind.
Dude, you've got to delete that app. You need to be using Polymarket.
Polymarket? How are they any different?
Polymarket is a prediction market, not a sportsbook. You trade against other fans just like you, not the house. That means more money for you and less for those greedy sportsbooks.
For real?
Yep. Sportsbooks take around $9 on a $100 position and then pay out around $500. Polymarket pays out $650 on that same position.
What's the catch?
No catch. Even better, it's available in all 50 states. Polymarket is so confident that you'll never go back, they're giving you $50 free on your first trade.
I'm deleting my sportsbook app. How do I get started?
Download Polymarket now and use promo code HEAT for $50 free for your first trade. Stop letting sportsbooks steal from you. Download Polymarket and use promo code HEAT for $50 free on your first trade. Use promo code HEAT.
Trading not available in all jurisdictions. Check local regulations before trading. Restrictions and eligibility requirements apply.
Grab your shades, your float trip gear, and join us June 17th for Chris and Amy Day at Busch Stadium.
We'll be broadcasting live from the Mississippi Yacht Club pop-up bar outside Gate 1, hanging with fans and serving up some fun behind the bar.
Live music, Fred Bird special guests will all be there. Plenty of chances to stop by and say hello.
Plus, you can sit with fellow Chris and Amy listeners in our special section for just $15.
June 17th.
Chris and Amy Day at the ballpark. $15 tickets.
Get your tickets now. Cardinals.com/Chris and Amy.
Go Cards.
Hey, Mom, now that I have an after-school job, I think I want to buy a drum kit.
Okay, Rockstar. Let's look at your account.
When kids start making money, Chase has easy-to-use tools and expert bankers to help them learn how to manage it.
And next month, I'll buy the bass drum and the cymbals. Oh, and maybe some noise-canceling headphones for you.
Aw, you've thought of everything.
Help kids save, budget, and build financial independence, all with Chase. That's good for kids and good for parents. Visit your local Chase branch and get started.
Account subject to approval. J.P. Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
This is the story of the one who keeps multiple buildings running smoothly day after day. Plumbing that flows, HVAC that hums, cleaning supplies that keep surfaces sparkling. That's why she counts on Grainger. With easy reordering online and 24/7 support, Grainger helps her keep the products she needs on hand. So shelves stay stocked and buildings stay ready. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Don't miss the hot tub and swim spa blowout sale this weekend at the St. Charles Convention Center. Over 25 American-made units on display. Immediate delivery and financing available. For more info, call 1-800-SPA-SALE.
Pump up the volume.
Business moves fast.
Pump up the volume.
When you ship with USPS Ground Advantage, you can keep up with confidence. Visit USPS.com/Ground Advantage to learn more.
Wish your life came with a warning app?
That dog does not want to be petted.
Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. Take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its Prediabetes Awareness Partners.
Chris and Amy now. The Dave Glover Show at 1 on the voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
do you know what was 7 years ago today?
No. Absolutely don't.
Your St. Louis Blues won the Stanley Cup championship.
That was awesome.
They won the Stanley Cup in Boston at TD Garden, Game 7. What a night it was. That was so much fun. I got my ticket, of course, last minute. As everyone does, you don't know if there's going to be a Game 7 until a Game 6. And I don't know what I was thinking, but I bought a ticket for for June 12th in the morning, so I could get to TD Garden for the pregame skates and all of the interviews. And then knowing that I was just going to hang out there until pregame, right? We're going to have an extended pregame. This was all on KMOX radio, by the way. And I didn't get a hotel room that night. I just bought my ticket, and I bought my flight home was at 6 a.m. the next morning. Nice. And I thought, well, it's going to be late, right? Like, even if they lose
Just
Game
go to the
7,
airport.
yeah, even if they lose Game 7, we're not going to get out of there until 1 a.m.
Yeah.
And my flight's at 6, so I could get to the airport at 4. I don't need a hotel for 3 hours. And what's funny is, of course, they won the Stanley Cup. And I want to say we got out of there. It wasn't terribly late. Maybe it was midnight, maybe, and maybe closer to 1. But all of the bars closed because they have bad attitudes in Boston.
I get that.
And they didn't want a bunch of celebratory Blues fans filling up their bars. So even though the bars were supposed to stay open till 1 or 3 a.m., they all closed.
Sure.
Sorry. So I thought, okay. And it was me, Alex Ferrario was there, Chris Raby, who was with the Blues, Ben Boyd. I thought, we're like, well, I know. Let's just, who has a hotel room? And a couple of the guys did. And we're like, let's just get some beer. Buy some beer and have, celebratory beer and hang out at the hotel for a couple of hours. Well, in Massachusetts, they don't sell alcohol after 10 p.m.
Wow.
You can't buy alcohol at a store after 10 p.m. So I never had a beer or anything. I just walked back to the main hotel where the media was and just thought, well, I guess I'll sit in the lobby before I make my way back to the airport. But I made the mistake of getting tired within the next 2 hours. And I started to tip over and sleep. And I was awakened by a very angry police officer who said, ma'am, you can't sleep here in the hotel, and grabbed my arm and was trying to throw me out of the hotel. And I just kept showing my badge going, I didn't mean to fall asleep. Sorry, I'm with the media. And he looked at me very skeptically. He, for some reason, allowed me to just sit up and pretend. I was like, no, I didn't mean to fall asleep. But yeah, so I almost got kicked out of the hotel, but I sat there, and then I think I just walked. Is the airport right downtown?
No.
Why do I feel like in my head I just walked there?
You were drunk.
I was so wasted. I don't remember how I got to the airport, but I did, and I flew home and was on KMOX at 8 a.m. Went straight from the airport here. Stayed up for 40 hours.
That's incredible. Wasn't this a great way to start your weekend? To not have to deal with Ranj and you got to hang with MSK?
The best.
Yeah.
Always fun hanging out with you, Michael.
If that's not the perfect setup for a perfect day.
You have no idea, Michael.
Well, Michael Kelly, we appreciate you. We'll see you on Monday.
Yes.
Filling in on Monday. It's the Chris and Amy Show. Hey, the Gas House Gang is next with Matt Pauley and Mike Claiborne right here on KMOX.
Stand up and bend over in a 90-degree angle.
John, I do it with you every Friday.
Time now for today's Spotlight on Money, sponsored by